And when you start seeing individuals in positions of responsibility suggesting that Christians are more worthy of protection than Muslims are in a war-torn land, that feeds the ISIL narrative. It's counterproductive, and it needs to stop.
This is a war of narratives rather than a question of civilization versus decivilization.
ISIS is at war with Western civilization. What is President Obama trying to do? He's trying to put political correctness over national security, and it's not going to work. They are coming. They released a new video yesterday, too. They're going to be here. FBI released
I know
an
you were
alert
before
yesterday.
the show. You were like binge watching ISIS videos.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second because don't make me go to my sad place. But the FBI said over the holidays there is going to be an ISIS attack here in the United States. They put out the video the other day saying that they are going to come and get those in Washington D.C. You know, celebrating the attack in Paris, and then saying, and they put it out in French, English, Arabic, and Russian. And then this video that was released yesterday specifically shows Times Square. So just listen for a little bit. Okay, well, it shows a person putting together a suicide belt, and then he puts on the belt, he buttons up his nice shirt, nicely pressed shirt, and then there's cutaway shots of Times Square, and then it fades to black.
Yeah, and
so if you don't think they're coming, they're coming.
Apparently, the music hasn't evolved much since the 7th century either. Morton Storm, who's a former Al Qaeda operative who got out, and now he's written a book about his time as an Al Qaeda operative. He's Central European, Western European, I guess. He's from Scandinavia. He was on with Megyn Kelly, predicting based on what he knows about being embedded with Al Qaeda, and then turning around and being a CIA, I should have mentioned, being a CIA operative, trying to infiltrate Al Qaeda and gather intelligence for the CIA. Morton Storm suggesting there's going to be an attack in the next 2 weeks. He put the 2-week timeline on it. Here's him explaining why.
And for that, I believe that within the next 2 weeks, that we will have an attack in Europe again. We've just seen in Germany now in Hanover that there is a very strong evidence that that the German authorities have stopped the terrorist attack. So it's quite severe in Europe now, and I also believe that copycats in America will do the best to do what their brothers have done in Europe.
His essential suggestion is that in the wake of the Paris attacks, they're sort of on the clock. And this is an opportunity also consistent with the idea of America is moving into a religious holiday season. Right. This is the time to strike again in Europe, as he suggested. Maybe there was an effort that was thwarted the other day in Germany, a couple of efforts, and then copycat lone wolves perhaps in America.
But don't worry, Mayor de Blasio and the police chief, they were out in Times Square late last night holding a press conference saying, it's okay to come and shop here. Don't be afraid. We've got this. And then they jumped back into their SUVs and drove away.
Well, that's
Very
right.
Very symbolic. You come here. We're not going to be here, but you can still come here.
Well, that's right. But I mean, realistically, I'm not going to go to Raqqa for Christmas vacation.
You're not? But what about that all-inclusive there and the golf package?
Yeah, It's very attractive. I will admit. The accommodation's not quite up to my standards, though. But here's... I mean, you're not going to stop walking down Michigan Avenue. You're not going to stop going to
I am.
music venues.
I'm shopping online this year. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm not going to malls.
You're not
I'm just
going. You're not going
online.
to a restaurant. You're not going to see a musical performance. You're not going to see a play.
No,
I'm
not.
You're going to go from here to your home and the bomb shelter that you have in the backyard underground.
Shh, nobody's supposed to know about that.
All right, we'll have more on this, including some interesting developments with respect to Syrian refugees trying to get into this country.
The Hoosiers say no.
Not through the federal refugee program, but through our southern border. We'll have that in your calls after this.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
And your phone calls all morning long, 312-642-5600 is the number. Here's your forecast for today. Wind gusts past 40 miles per hour. It will be cooler with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 45 degrees tonight, 27 degrees for our low. And then Friday, some sun, then increasing clouds. Snow at night into Saturday. We could see anywhere from 2 to 6 inches. Oh my gosh, of the white stuff. Get out your shovels. Let's see what it's like on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. On the Adams Tollway westbound, we still some overnight road work from Meacham to Roselle in the right lane. On westbound 390, Meacham to Plum Grove, there's a left lane closure till 6. There's also some work on the Indiana Toll Road in Hammond, it's east of Calumet Avenue. Roxana, left lane closed each way till 6. Not seeing any delays, though. A little heavy on the inbound Ryan approaching downtown and on the inbound Bishop Ford approaching the Ryan. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Don't miss the Chicago Bar Association's 92nd annual satirical musical, A Christmas Quarrel, A Tale of Two Parties. A cast of talented lawyers parodies current news and pop culture from Hillary to Trump, all to the music of your favorite show tunes and pop hits. This show is for everyone. You'll laugh out loud at this toe-tapping, finger-snapping, hand-clapping good time. A Christmas Quarrel runs at DePaul's Merle Reskin Theater. Evenings Wednesday, December 2nd through Saturday the 5th, and a matinee Sunday the 7th. For times and tickets, visit barshow.org. Treat your company, your clients, or go with your friends for a hilarious night out. Order your Bar Show tickets today. Call 312-554-2134 or order online at barshow.org. That's barshow.org. Tickets also available at the Reskin Theater box office. A funny Trump joke was supposed to go here, but it was removed by the censors for obvious reasons.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 4.
Worn-out tires can cost you a lot more than new tires.
It's true. In the long run, badly worn tires put stress on suspension parts,
which can lead to real expensive repairs.
Worn tires have poor traction.
That's why so many families are riding on Merlin 200,000-mile warranty tires.
What's your family riding on?
Stop in at your local Merlin 200,000-mile shop for details and a free tire inspection today.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
It's never too early to be prepared for winter driving. Start with a free tire and wiper blade inspection at your local Merlin shop. It's one of the easiest and most important things you can do to be prepared. Right now, receive a $50 rebate on the purchase of 4 General tires and up to a $15 rebate on wiper blades. Visit merlins.com for details to find a shop and make an appointment.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so just a couple of quick stories. Thank goodness the Hondurans don't share Obama's values.
I have a new hashtag. I love Hondurans. I heard about this story yesterday. I was so excited. Good for them.
Yeah, the Honduran authorities arrested 5 Syrians. Oh, boy, Syria, that's Honduras, Syria, not exactly neighbors.
No.
5 Syrians intending to make it to the United States with stolen Greek passports. That, of course, is eerily reminiscent of what was at least part of the cell that responsible for the Paris attacks coming in through Greece, masquerading as Syrian refugees.
What should we send them? A fruit basket? We should send them something. I mean, they essentially saved lives.
They've kind of got the fruit thing cornered down there in Honduras. Yeah, I don't know. Remember, Honduras, they just elected...
oh, that's right, a comedian.
The comedian.
What's the capital of Honduras?
Oh, no, that was Guatemala.
Oh, shoot. Guatemala.
Guatemala elected. the
Oh, yeah,
Canadian.
yeah.
Honduras, the capital is Tegucigalpa.
God. Can't get anything past you.
2 federal agents operating under the umbrella of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, this is from Breitbart, claiming 8 Syrian illegal aliens attempting to enter Texas from Mexico in the Laredo sector. So you've got 5 trying to come through Honduras to Mexico to the U.S. and you've got 8 coming in, trying to come in from Mexico to Texas. In addition to that, so is there some concern for security and vetting? Well, I think there's reason to be somewhat concerned. There's reason at least to press the pause button, not the never button.
No. As
But-
Paul
but-
Ryan suggested
but the pause
yesterday on the
button.
House floor, he said this is not a religious test, but a security test. And today they're going to take a House vote to add different security measures to the Syrian refugees and all refugees who want to come to this country. It's
And-
very reasonable, very diplomatic, but Obama is turning this into a political issue to try and make Republicans look racist.
Well, he can try all he wants. I mean, the response has been very measured, with maybe the exception of the mayor of Roanoke.
Yeah, what's going on there?
By the way,
Because isn't he a Hillary supporter?
he is the mayor of Roanoke, suggesting that government and non-government agencies in his region suspend and delay assistance to Syrian refugees. You know how he's defending his position? Boy, Democrats and their understanding of history, by citing FDR's Japanese internment camps.
Okay.
I'm reminded that President Franklin Delano Roosevelt felt compelled to sequester Japanese foreign nationals after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and it appears that the threat of harm to America from ISIS is now just as real and serious as that from our enemies then. Yeah, interesting. It's nice to see Democrats showing their true colors, defending the racist FDR policy of internment camps against Japanese, keyword coming, Americans. That's the difference between the Syrian refugees today, who are not Americans, and law-abiding Japanese Americans who were put into internment camps in what was a despicable period in our country's history, brought to you by the Democrat president that Democrats most like to cite, including the mayor of Roanoke. How ignorant are they? That's a rhetorical question. Chris and Elgin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Love your show. There's one thing I don't understand, and I only got probably 10 seconds to say it, but everybody's saying that they don't understand what this president is doing. They don't understand this or that, but it's really very simple. All you have to do is understand that this president hates his country. He really, really does, and he wants to cause harm and damage to this country. For years now, that's his plan. And I don't understand why isn't there a movement to arrest him out of office.
Thanks for the call, Chris. I appreciate it. I mean, there's not even a movement to have him follow the law, much less anything more substantial than that. Mike in Hanover Park.
Hey, good morning, guys and lady. I'm sorry, guys. I'm woman and man.
Thank you.
My thing is, I'm sorry. My thing is, I'm just infuriated still right now. He's saying, we're going to be, we're not going to let the mother or the sons in that have no husband or whatever. Oh, you're talking like the mother who had a bomb strapped to her back in Paris, and the ones who the parents put bombs on to bomb our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan? Oh, no, we're not supposed to worry about that. And then the only thing I see him getting infuriated over is Republicans and Christians. If he had that same anger towards ISIS, maybe we would get a lot of stuff done.
Thanks for the call, Mike. And I'll tell you what, this is why I disagree with Charles Krauthammer. Said, maybe men over 50 and women and children. No. It's not about the understanding that most are truly refugees fleeing persecution. The question is, do we have a system in place where we can separate those fleeing persecution who intend no harm from those who intend harm? And until we do, then people have to be held in abeyance.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you want to refinance and pay off debt, you called me and I helped you. When your kids were purchasing their first home and you wanted to make sure they were working with a trustworthy lender, you called me and I helped them. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM560 business owners. It's a name that you've come to know and trust. Turnkey IT takes care of your technology and has a plan that fits your company's IT budget and network needs. Interested in moving some or all of your business to the cloud? Turnkey IT can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. Need someone to call when you can't print, have a lost file, or need tech support? Turnkey IT's got you covered. Offsite backup? Check. On-site support? Check. Help desk support? Check. Turnkey IT staff is professional, friendly, punctual, and will solve all of your technical problems immediately and even work after normal business hours, all for a fixed monthly rate. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's the good people at turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Are you going to fly domestically anymore? We'll have that at 5:35.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 47 degrees. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls warning that Islamic extremists at some point may use chemical or biological weapons, while today urging French lawmakers to extend their national state of emergency there by 3 months. The House is expected to vote today on a bill temporarily blocking Syrian refugees from coming into the United States.
We need to put a pause on this program and have higher standards placed upon it so that we can verify on a person-by-person basis each and every single refugee whether or not they pose any security risk. And if they do, and if we can't without a shadow of a doubt prove that, then they shouldn't come here.
President Obama has threatened to veto any bill that blocks refugee plans that he has made. The White House says airstrikes are taking a toll on ISIS. However, Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina telling Fox News the president's comments about ISIS being contained are wrong.
They are at war with us. They are at war with this nation. They are at war with our way of life. They are at war with Europe. And President Obama is speaking in a way that is beneath his office.
Thousands of airport workers on strike today. Service Employees Union says about 2,000 baggage handlers and other airport workers walked off the job in New York City and Chicago and other airports. Minneapolis police say officers used chemical irritants to control a crowd of protesters outside a large precinct building where an officer shot an unarmed black man over the weekend. Earlier, police cleared the entryway where demonstrators had camped out since the shooting of 24-year-old Jamar Clark early on Sunday. Clark died a day later. Former Subway spokesman Jared Fogle is due in federal court in Indianapolis to learn how much time he'll spend in prison on child porn and sex crime charges. Operations are returning to normal at O'Hare this morning after high winds forced more than 230 flights to be canceled. Federal judge has sentenced a suburban Chicago man to 16 years behind bars for putting dozens of guns in the hands of known street gang members. 36-year-old Walter Freeman later sold those weapons after trading the guns for cocaine. And a new app is available today for Metra, CTA, and Pace riders. The free Ventra app will allow Metra commuters to buy tickets and display their tickets on smartphones. Chicago sports, Cubs get another postseason award, a Cy Young for Jake Arrieta. Jimmy Butler, 32, and the Bulls win over Phoenix, 103-97. College buckets, Illinois missed three shots in the final 10 seconds. Lost to Providence, 60-59. Marion hosts have scored 108 into overtime. In the Blackhawks win over Edmonton 4-3. And Northern Illinois right here on AM 560, a MAC win over Western Michigan. The news service of Crystal Farms for delicious cheese. Satisfying from snack time to mealtime. Choose Crystal Farms of Lake Mills, Wisconsin. Savory slices, shreds, blocks, and snacks. Crystal Farms, made by cheese lovers for cheese lovers. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My wife, Helene, she knows me better than anybody on this planet. Ask her anything.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I just have one quick question. Is he always angry?
No. You know what? When we're at home, we're actually very quiet. He's not angry. I'm the one he has to calm me down half the time.
You're killing the image, Helene.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't listen to a damn word she says. I'm always pissed off.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Holiday parties come in all shapes and sizes. Elegant plated dinners, festive cocktail hours, casual buffets, themed events, and more.
Tasty Catering is already decked out with the holiday spirit, featuring a brand new holiday catering menu and a team of event planners who are eager to help you experience a successful party of any kind.
So much more than amazing holiday catering, Tasty Catering has been helping companies plan their entire holiday parties from start to finish for decades. Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition.
Your event can be exactly what you envisioned. All you need to do is visit tastycatering.com or call Tasty Catering at 847-593-2000 and tell them your event date.
A planner will ask you about your holiday party goals and then help you reach them as simply and stress-free as possible.
tastycatering.com. Start your holiday planning with a company that Chicago trusts. Tasty Catering, 847-593-2000.
Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition. 847-593-2000.
536 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Keeping an eye on the roads this morning. Here's Jim Talamonte.
The morning rush is kicking into gear. We have a few delays now. Inbound Stevenson, it's a little sluggish. Pulaski to Kedzie, that's just a 2-minute delay. Inbound Ryan has a 4-minute delay from the Stevenson to downtown Chicago. Inbound Bishop Ford, it's a 3 or 4-minute delay from 103rd to the merge. There's still some road work on the Adams Tollway westbound, Meacham to Roselle. There's a right lane closure till 6 a.m. And on westbound 390, the Elgin O'Hare, it's a left lane closure from Meacham to Plum Grove. There's also work on the Indiana Toll Road in both directions. Mile marker 6.5, that's east of Columbia and Hammond. Left lane closures there. Looking at the flight boards at O'Hare and Midway, things are getting back to normal. Very few delays at O'Hare, virtually none at Midway at this time. Traffic service of WesternUnion.com's mobile app. You might be stuck in traffic, but your money shouldn't be. Send money around the world 24/7 with the Western Union mobile app. Download the app and send your money fast. Next time you need to send money quickly, get out of a jam and tap the Western Union app. It's money. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. There is a winter storm watch in effect starting on Friday evening through Saturday morning, but not for DuPage and Cook counties. This is mostly McHenry, Lake, Ogle, Lee, DeKalb, and Kane counties we'll keep an eye on. But for all of us, we start to cool down today with a high near 45, 27 overnight. Tomorrow, sun and 46, and the snow begins on Friday evening. 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Heroes Talk Radio. Learn the secrets to planning a tax-free retirement income by listening to Heroes Talk Radio Saturday afternoons at 5.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Stewardess, are you telling us everything?
Haha, nice.
Thank you.
Jimmy, have you ever seen a grown man naked? Or is it Tommy?
No, it's
Billy.
Is it,
Johnny.
No, wait. Now you've got me.
Oh,
Timmy.
It's Timmy. Well,
Yes.
we have another
You ever
situation.
been in a Turkish prison in the summertime?
We have another scare in the air update. This, of course, after the Paris attacks. Everyone's on edge. 2 days ago, we had the Spirit Airlines when a person was watching news. They were watching the Paris ISIS attacks on their little iPhone, and a woman was so nervous because he was from the Middle East that she got up and ran to the bathroom with her daughter. So they turned the plane around, took 4 people off that plane, questioned them.
Yeah,
I got it. They were humiliated and inconvenienced, and they're demanding an apology this morning.
I got into the office this morning, and I see you binge watching ISIS videos. I called the CIA.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am
serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I assume they're en route. Yeah, everybody's a little jumpy. I'm going to continue to fly, although I'm rethinking it not because I'm afraid of a terrorist attack, but because I don't want to be diverted to 4 cities before I get to my destination with everybody who's so jumpy about a crossword or a cross review of a news website.
Well, you're going to love this one. So yesterday, from Chicago's Midway Airport to Houston on a Southwest flight, they were about to depart from the gate, and there were 4 Middle Eastern men asking various passengers on the plane, hey, do you mind moving? We want to sit together. And the first person said no, so they went back further in the plane and asked other people, can we move? Can you mind sitting with him so we can sit together in the same row? And people were scared because they're Middle Eastern, and they wanted to sit together, so somebody thought that it was a terrorist attack. So that raises the uncomfortable question, Dan, as to whether people are being unfairly profiled.
It's not the American way, but it's understandable why they're doing it, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough question.
And that was passenger John Shapolsky. He was, inconvenienced because they had to they took the 4 off the plane. They were later, rebooked on a different flight. They made it to their destination, but I mean, do we need to calm down here, folks, or what?
There are a lot more terrorist acts in America that are actually committed by people who are white Christians. So I think it's important to really keep things in perspective.
All right, if that woman is on my flight, I'm getting off the flight, or I'm demanding that she be removed. That is idiotic. And this is, unfortunately, this is why it's difficult to have the important conversation, answer the important question you ask, because you have mopes like this woman who just don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're walking around in a cloud. Was that Susan Rice?
No,
was that a member of the Obama regime?
That was Caitlin Jacobs.
And Caitlin Jacobs, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, let's hear it again.
There are a lot more terrorist acts in America that are actually committed by people who are white Christians. So I think it's important to really keep things in perspective.
Yeah, I've got perspective.
Is there any? I mean, she was talking about mass shootings, and she wanted to talk about Columbine and Sandy Hook Elementary School. Those are committed by white Christians. I don't know if they're Christians, but they're Americans.
That was that was underlying some religious ideology, was it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, no. Okay, so that failed miserably. All right, so here is the leader for the Center for American Islamic Relations, otherwise known as CARE. He's pretty upset by these 2 incidents 2 days in a row.
These are incidents that target individuals who have nothing to do with what happened in Paris, obviously, other than that they're Muslim or they're dark-skinned.
And Southwest late last night released a statement saying that they think that they made the right decision to ensure that safety and the safety and security of our crew and customers is our number 1 priority on every flight.
Well, the safety of including those 4 men that were on that Southwest flight. If it gets a bit ornery, I mean, you don't want it to come to anything physical. But look, here's the deal. If people had a little bit more confidence in TSA, we weren't treated to the stories over the summer of 95% of weapons getting through TSA and kind of dummy checks that were done to see how TSA is holding up. In addition to, frankly, the policies of this president, this regime, when it comes to a devil-may-care attitude about who is coming to this country and what they intend to do, then I think perhaps there would be less fear, some of it founded but not manifesting itself in productive ways among the populace. Look, if I'm on a plane...
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what would you do?
If I'm on a plane and 4 Middle Eastern men get on the plane, I'm not jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, but what if they ask you to move so that they could sit together?
Yeah. I mean, if they say it in that voice, that we want to sit together, and followed by Allah Akbar, then maybe I've got a question or two to ask.
Listen
but
to the craziness.
No.
I'm going back to the Spirit Airlines flight from Boston to Chicago. This is one of the passengers who described the craziness just because a Middle Eastern man was watching news on his iPad.
Then they finally came on and they said we all needed to deplane because they had to sweep the plane. And they said there was suspected terrorist, a credible threat, a security threat.
A terrorist threat? Because he's watching the Paris attack, watching news on his iPhone?
People overreacted. There's no question. And everybody wants to err on the side of security and safety because they don't want to be the one where they made the mistake. Mm-hmm. Infinitesimal as the odds may be, they don't want to be part of a party that said, we didn't think it was anything, he was just doing that, and then something horrific happens, is perpetrated, and you're left holding the bag in terms of what you should have done. But no, this goes back to the conversation we were having before. And we apparently have different viewpoints on this, about changing the way you live. Am I not going to go to populated areas, or am I not going to walk in groups, as German police suggested to German nationals? Am I not going to go see a musical performance or to the theater
or go to a Bears game this Sunday? Because
of the possibility, this is Chicago, this is President Obama's hometown, and all of the other suggestions that Chicago could be a target. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to lose my senses over a Middle Eastern man that comes on my flight and says, I want to sit with my buddy. Can you move? Whatever, fine. Unless I have a window seat, then I like a window seat.
Okay, but we always tell people if you see something, say something. But are we a little too jumpy right now? A little too jittery? Because I like to think that we're there's an overabundance of caution right now.
Yeah, if you see something, say something. Yes, but that is not the basis on which to suspend common sense. Yes,
I think common sense was suspended 2 days in a row on the Spirit Airlines flight and then on the Southwest flight.
Hey, boy.
But we weren't on the plane. And if we were, we would have told them, you're not sitting here. It's first come, first serve. Now sit down.
Bob and Huntley, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Bob and Huntley.
Sorry, guys. Hey, listen, Dan. You always say to exercise a little common sense with our teachers and our school districts, right? Well, how about this gentleman watching an ISIS video on an airplane when people, we're already heightened to the fact that, terrorists and airplanes and this. So how about he exercise a little common sense and wait to watch his video until he either lands or he watches it in the airport before he gets on the plane?
Yeah. I mean, obviously. You think he was an agitator? Well, he was watching a news report. He wasn't watching an ISIS video.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to go around.
Maybe he was smiling. Maybe she didn't like his reaction while he was watching the video.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Bob. I mean,
Spirit Airlines, by the way, standing by their decision.
Common sense across the board. Yes, common sense across the board. And by the way, that extends to the White House, where following on their successful hashtag campaign to bring our girls back from Boko Haram, there's, literally in a hashtag campaign, welcome refugees, being pushed by the White House. So again, perhaps if you had people with a little bit more faith in the political and intelligence leadership of this country, you would have people not giving in to their fears quite as much.
The bombs you feel are asteroids smashing into the hull of this ship. Also, we're flying without a navigational system and can't seem to change course.
Miss, are you telling us absolutely everything?
Not exactly. We're also out of coffee.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Today, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. It will be cooler as the day continues. Intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 45. Tonight, a low of 27. And then Friday, just a mixed bag of weather. We're going to start off with some sun, then increasing clouds, snow at night into Saturday, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches, depending on where you live.
Yeah, before we go to Jim, I got a text. New business opportunity. Open an airline that carries only people who get racially profiled.
Sounds good.
The market has the solution.
Racial air. And now let's go to Jim Telemonte. He's on from the airways to the roadways. Here's Jim.
Thank you, Amy and Dan. Good morning. Bishop Ford Freeway outbound. A crash reported at 111th. IDOT is responding there. And inbound, it's pretty heavy now. Delays start around 115th, 21 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. So about a 6-minute delay. I-57 just a little slow from Halstead to the merge. Then the Ryan slow from the merge to 79th and 31st on into downtown. 21 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Eden still fine, Kennedy as well. Inbound Eisenhower, a little slow past Manheim to Stevenson, just a little slow, Pulaski to Kedzie. I'm Jim Talamonte in the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I picked the wrong week. Quit drinking.
The Chicago Symphony Orchestra and Chorus perform Handel's Messiah, December 10th through 20th at Symphony Center. Don't miss one of the most beloved choral masterpieces of all time, performed by the world-renowned CSO. This thrilling performance features a superb lineup of soloists and the Chicago Symphony Chorus. The Chicago Symphony Orchestra and Chorus, Handel's Messiah, December 10th through 20th at Symphony Center. And join the 125th anniversary season. For tickets, call 312-294-3000 or visit cso.org.
A little preventive maintenance before the holiday season could save you thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache.
Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. The holidays are tough on your sewer lines. Overuse of garbage disposals and paper products, in addition to grease buildup, can clog your sewer line. And a clogged sewer line can result in raw sewage backing up into your home. You'll want to avoid that unpleasant surprise when your family comes to visit. Permaseal has a simple solution to help you prevent this disgusting problem. Call 800-421-SEAL by November 30th and pay only $199 for your sewer rotting service. A certified Permaseal technician will rod your main sewer line and eliminate any blockages. For over 36 years, our mission has been to provide a superior customer experience and the greatest value. Call 800-421-SEAL. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Restrictions apply. See your Permaseal representative for further details.
Hi, folks. Joe Walsh here. I recently visited Precision Payroll of America in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. I'll tell you, I've been hearing Tom's ads for years, and to meet his team and spend a little time with them, I realized why their clients and employees stay together so long. I also didn't realize what great services they offer. Payroll processing, tax filing, time and attendance, and human resource consulting. Boy, we could all use help there with all these new and yet to be introduced regulations from healthcare to full-time equivalency. Precision Payroll of America has the right services and the right approach to help companies navigate these crazy times. For a service provider you can relate to and will look out for your best interests, call Tom at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Also, visit precisionpayroll.com, but then pick up the phone and call Tom. He is sure to deliver great value and even better service.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, boy. Dan and Amy, I'll tell you what would concern me, though, if anybody orders a Schweppes.
A Schweppes?
Yeah. The ginger ale.
Oh, the ginger
on the
ale.
Russian flight.
Oh, yeah.
And we know now that
it was a soda can bomb.
we
Or
call
as you call it
we call it pop.
Pop,
Come
whatever.
on,
It was
you're
a
in
pop
Chicago.
can bomb that brought down the Russian Metrojet. At least ISIS is claiming that, and they showed how it was detonated yesterday in one of their videos. And of course, I've been watching those videos, and I don't think I'll be the same for a while. But yeah, they showed how with the switch and the detonator, and then the can.
Yeah, a photo showed a Schweppes. Some people say Schweppies.
Schweppes.
Get it right.
Pineapple. Right?
Pineapple Gold. It sounds terrible. Never had it. It was a can. They posted a photo, 2 small devices with wires. So and White House now also making its strongest statement saying, yes, it was a terrorist attack that took down that Russian airliner. John in Bridgeport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, Dan, you want to talk about common sense? Come on. You book a flight with your buddies, you book the same seat. They're going to start doing this stuff on purpose. I won't be shocked a little lawsuit follows.
No, it's, Southwest. Southwest is first come, first serve. And you go Section A, Section B, Section C. So if they're in Section C, there's empty seats scattered throughout the plane, and you just have to ask people to move if you want to sit together.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so common on Southwest.
But thanks for the call, John. I mean, but the whole idea of, like we saw with, I mean, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just comparing tactically. Like we saw with the gay rights movement with wedding cakes and stuff. I'm going to go to somebody who does wedding cakes that I know won't do a wedding cake for a gay wedding because I want to make a point. I want to get after them. And so for people to kind of go after other people for the purpose of being a victim so you can play the victim card, is that possible? Yes, that's possible.
But
your point on the Southwest flight is an important one, and it also doesn't explain the Spirit Airlines flight where a guy's watching the news on his iPad.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. That's exactly why you need to call Saul Z and the Z team at Keller Williams, based right here in Chicagoland. Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Don't worry, you won't. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then do so, lest you miss thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders, this week with Charles Lipson, a poli-sci professor at University of Chicago, to talk about repression of expression on college campuses. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what, if anything, we can do about them. This week, the number 97. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
Now, more than ever, choosing a real estate agent to sell your home is one of the most important decisions you can make.
I'm Ed Lukasik Jr., owner of RE/MAX Professionals. I know what it takes to sell your home.
The Wall Street Journal ranked Ed at 88th in the entire country for closed listings.
I know that there's no gimmick to selling your home, just a strategic marketing plan and the confidence needed to make your transaction successful.
Chicago Agent Magazine recognized Ed as the #1 rank in Will County.
You can hire anybody to list your house, but you'll need the local market knowledge that I have to sell it.
When Ed saw market trends change, he was ready and promptly received a RE/MAX of Northern Illinois Trendsetter Award.
Sure, it takes awards, but it also takes a lot of effort. So why would you try to sell your home with a we'll sell your house or buy it from you kind of agent? If an agent has to promise to buy your listing, then something's seriously wrong.
Call Ed Lukasik Jr. of RE/MAX Professionals, 630-679-5454. That's 630-679-5454. Sell your house with the professionals, RE/MAX Professionals.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Donald Trump has a new ad out, and you're going to hear it here at 6:06.
And Ted Cruz is ready to rumble with President Obama. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching for you today. Operations returning to normal at O'Hare after strong winds canceled flights yesterday. O'Hare security workers are set to walk off the job this morning. A Chicago area judge may release the video of an officer shooting a teenager. We'll have an update on that story for you. Groups want the Illinois governor to reverse his Syrian refugee pause. And the Cubs' Jake Arrieta wins the National League Cy Young Award. Winds gusting past 40 miles an hour this morning with a high near 45. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
It is the goal of terrorists to intimidate.
But Mayor Bill de Blasio says it won't work in New York City after a new ISIS threat. Fox's Tanya J. Powers is here live.
The mayor says there is nothing to fear.
It's important to note that there is no credible and specific threat against New York City.
Mayor de Blasio says the city's new Critical Response Command, which is a counterterrorism unit, is set to grow by more than 500 officers. This after an ISIS propaganda video released yesterday promises more terror attacks, featuring old footage of Times Square, Herald Square, and Fifth Avenue. One part of the video is new and shows ISIS militants congratulating the Paris attacks, Dave.
And Tony, the French are still trying to figure out if they got the mastermind behind those attacks. In yesterday's raid, Fox's Simon Owen live in Paris.
Dave, police are said to have fired nearly 5,000 bullets as they raided the apartment in northern Paris where they thought Abdelhamid may have been hiding. The building was left shredded, and the last we heard from prosecutors, the two people killed in the operation were yet to be identified. There have been more raids today in Brussels, and in the French Parliament, the Prime Minister warning of the threat of a future chemical attack as he pushes for a state of emergency here to be extended. Dave?
Simon, House Republicans could today approve a plan to pause the program to let refugees in from Syria and Iraq.
I don't think I'll be playing Russian roulette with the national security.
Homeland Security Committee Chairman Michael McCall, the White House has threatened a veto. Donald Trump has a big lead in New Hampshire. A new Fox poll gives him 27%. Marco Rubio is second, 14 points back. However,
he performs the worst against Hillary Clinton in a general election ballot test.
That's Trump performing the worst. Fox polling director Dana Blanton. Bernie Sanders leads Hillary Clinton by 1 point in the New Hampshire Democratic race. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
47 degrees right now. Winds out of the south at 13. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. On AM 560, the answer. Operations returning to normal at O'Hare this morning, at least for a time, after high winds forced officials to shut down most runways yesterday, forcing 230 flights to be canceled. More than 70 American Airlines passengers will hopefully have a smooth flight out of O'Hare this morning. The previous flight last night, destined for Manchester, England, had to return to Chicago after running into turbulence. 100 security workers at O'Hare planning to walk off the job around 8 a.m. this morning. They say they're staging a walkout over unfair labor practices. Chicago police may be forced to release a video that is said to show an officer shooting a black teen up to 16 times. A Cook County judge is expected to decide today whether to order police to release dashcam video of the October 2014 shooting death of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. Some Illinois groups that help Syrian refugees resettle are calling on Governor Bruce Rauner to reverse his threat to temporarily pause accepting new Syrian refugees. Also, the City of Chicago City Council approved a symbolic resolution to accept more Syrian refugees. Meantime, the mayor had to downplay a report yesterday that the city's speed cameras issued more than $2.4 million worth of unwarranted tickets over the past 6 months. AM 560's David Stewart was there.
The Chicago Tribune reports the city routinely ignores rules about when the cameras are allowed to be in operation, leading to an estimated 110,000 bogus tickets. Mayor Emanuel says there's a procedure to follow if there has been a mistake.
Where we have to actually, if their system has made a mistake, people get their checks back, and we have a process to handle that.
But only about 23,000 of those who got those tickets have won refunds. The mayor says the cameras have been successful in reducing crashes near schools and parks. David Stewart, Chicago.
Chicago sports. Cubs first team in 14 years to win 3 off-season awards in the same year. Jake Arrieta rewarded with the National League Cy Young Award yesterday. Last team, the Chicago White Sox. Wednesday's results on the hard court. Bulls over Phoenix, 103-97. Jimmy Butler with 32. College hoops, Providence topped Illinois, 60-59. Northwestern a win over Fairfield. And on the ice, Blackhawks overtime winners over Edmonton 4-3. The news, a service of the Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Does your commute drive you nuts? Stop driving. Put your time to better use. Save $975 per month by riding public trans and reduce air pollution. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager gives free advice to all GOP candidates.
Every candidate needs to announce, we're not running against Hillary Clinton alone. We're not running against Barack Obama alone. We're running against the left and the Democratic Party. They are ruining the United States of America. It just needs to be said over and over and over and over. You are ruining our country. You are ruining our country.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller, guaranteed. Viviscal is clinically researched to promote existing hair growth from men and women. You'll love your hair growth results, guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now. 800-881-4950. 800-881-4950. That's 800-881-4950.
Have you purchased gold? Did you overpay in commissions? How much did you pay? Do you actually know? What are your coins worth today? You work hard for your money. Pay their high commissions or get more gold. Call Goldworth. Discover what big dealers hope you don't know. Request the Insider's Guide free. Don't buy another ounce without it. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
6:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center, the very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Eisenhower, traffic is slow from Manheim to Harlem. It's 35 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Edens and the Kennedy do not have significant delays yet, but the Kennedy's getting heavier. Stevenson has delays. Harlem to Kedzie and State Street to Lakeshore Drive. 40 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound fine at 34. Ryan is 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 21. The tollways are still looking good. No delays to report in northwest Indiana. Very few delays to report at O'Hare as things are getting back to normal there, and very few delays, almost none at Midway. Traffic is a service of RCN Entertainment Redefined. Get RCN's award-winning MegaFast 155 internet, plus watch TV anywhere with RCN to go, all for as low as $55.94 per month. It's MegaFast tested. RCN Entertainment Redefined. 1-800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Winds gusting past 40 miles an hour this morning. Cooler and clouds and sunshine in your forecast. Let's get all the details from our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Clouds and sun today with wind gusts past 40 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and breezy tonight, low 27. Some sun, then clouds tomorrow, high 46. Periods of snow with rain mixed in early tomorrow night. Accumulation 1 to 3 inches, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
It's 45 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So it's quite severe in Europe now, and I also believe that copycats in America will do the best to do what their brothers have done in Europe.
We'll build a wall on the southern border, and yes, I will also quickly and decisively bomb the hell out of ISIS.
When Individuals say that we should have a religious test. That's offensive and contrary to American values.
He just called me offensive the day before. He called me un-American. If you want to insult me, you can do it overseas, you can do it in Turkey, you can do it in foreign countries. But I would encourage you, Mr. President, come back and insult me to my face.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan? And fresh off her Women in Politics roundtable panel discussion where she brought it like one Ted Cruz, she's Amy Jacobson.
Yeah, Heartland Institute. I don't know if you've been reading their tweets, but they tweeted the event close to 317 times.
Yes.
And it actually happened. So I went to the event and I was joined by...
Which is good because you were on the panel.
Yes, I know. So I actually showed up. You know, when I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. But it was a very wonderful crowd. Thanks to all the ladies who showed up last night. State Rep Jeannie Ives was there, and Kathleen Murphy was there from the Illinois Opportunity Project.
And what the question was, should or should not women be in politics? Resolved, and you took which side of the debate? What was the discussion?
We just discussed, you know, people who've transformed from being Democrats to Republicans and why that has happened. I don't know why you're looking at me.
Right.
And then we just discussed, you know, foreign policy and how we should be approaching ISIS and what Obama should be doing and what candidates people like and which Republican candidate they think could beat Hillary Clinton. So thanks for inviting me, Heartland Institute. It was a wonderful event, and maybe next time you'll show up.
What was your? I thought it was women only.
No, there was a few men there, and they asked some very pertinent questions, and it was great.
What was your finest moment? Would you say?
Oh my gosh, when I said the smartest person that I know is Dan Proft.
I think that was it.
For my finest moment, then I dropped the mic and said, "Good night, Arlingtonites."
I'll tell you.
And I walked out.
You went out on top, and that's the way to do it. Nicely done.
Everybody had, scripted remarks, and I didn't. So I just, spoke from the heart and let everybody know I'm a recovering Democrat. So please be nice to me. And there were other women in the audience who were recovering Democrats as well. One woman admits she had voted for Barack Obama in 2008. And
the Scarlet O.
She was worse than me because I didn't do that. But no, it was a nice crowd, and I learned a lot.
Well, very good. Ted Cruz responding to the president's comments on his goodwill tour around the globe, first in Turkey and then the other day in Manila.
Manila?
What's that?
Isn't there a big boxing match in Manila?
Well, that's the home of Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we can have,
future president of the Philippines, I would suggest.
Okay.
Big Manny Pacquiao fan. Pac-Man, as I and everybody else in the Philippines calls him. But the president has said some things about Republicans, kind of ridiculing them, essentially intimating that the opposition, 31 states, by the way, 31 states, that's about 60% of our country, a little bit of back-of-the-envelope math.
And they're not all Republican governors.
No. For example, New Hampshire governor is Democrat. Roanoke mayor is Democrat. He's suggesting the same thing, Roanoke, Virginia. But the president was insinuating that anyone opposed to his Syrian refugee program, particularly Republicans, are racist. Well, Ted Cruz has had just about enough. And Ted Cruz is...
Yeah, he's done with the name calling. He's ready to rumble, Dan.
Yeah, at 3 o'clock when the bell rings, you meet me on the playground and you say to my face, tough guy.
Well, I will say it's fairly remarkable that President Obama has now chosen 2 days in a row to attack me directly. He just called me offensive the day before. He called me un-American. I think that's really quite rich that he chose to make both of those insults on foreign soil while he was abroad, attacking me and attacking everyone else in this country who believes we should not be bringing in tens of thousands of Syrian Muslim refugees, that the Obama administration cannot vet to determine whether or not they are ISIS terrorists. I got to tell you, it is utterly unbefitting of a president to be engaging in those kind of personal insults and attacks. And, he talked about how he was belittling the Republican field as scared. Well, let me suggest something, Mr. President. If you want to insult me, you can do it overseas, you can do it in Turkey, you can do it in foreign countries. But I would encourage you, Mr. President, come back and insult me to my face. Let's have a debate on Syrian refugees right now. We can do it anywhere you want. I prefer it in the United States and not overseas where you're making the insults. It's easy to toss a cheap insult when no one can respond, but let's have a debate. We'll do it on any station. I'm sure any one of the TV stations would be glad to host it.
That would be fun.
Oh, my God. Ted Cruz would destroy President Obama.
That's why it would be fun.
But the anger that President Obama is showing toward the press and toward Republicans, I want him to direct that anger and be upset about ISIS and what they did and how they killed 129 Parisians. There's no anger there. It's just that the fact that we won't take in every Syrian refugee. Well,
and also, too, I mean, the argument by President Obama and the regime is that Republicans and others, I guess, that share their view on this matter, hitting the pause button, as Paul Ryan outlined, and will be voted on today on the Hill, that they're giving into fear. So is it?
But we're
is
not.
But is it that position that is giving into fear, or is it the position of we have to appease so as not to further the efforts of this enemy of ours that I said we were going to degrade and destroy? Is the language of appeasement giving into fear, or is the language of, I would suggest, common sense and national security, is that fear, or is that just kind of responsible first order of business of government at every level, protecting your constituents' policymaking? I don't know. Your call is 312-642-5600. And I'm just kidding. I do know. That's the Turnkey.pro answer line. 64636 is the Turnkey.pro text line.
And the question is, I mean, do we put political correctness ahead of national security? I mean, what Paul Ryan is proposing today and what they're going to vote on at the House today is just adding more security measures to refugees who are coming to this country. It's not a religious test. As he said, it's a security test. But Obama cannot see it this way. He said, stop it now because the entire world is watching.
ISIL seeks to exploit the idea that there is a war between Islam and the West. And when you start seeing individuals in positions of responsibility suggesting that Christians are more worthy of protection than Muslims are in a war-torn land, that feeds the ISIL narrative. It's counterproductive, and it needs to stop.
It's this competing narratives. It's such an interesting way to approach an existential security threat, to talk about whose narrative is winning. This is propaganda for ISIS. So do you think that, again, the language of appeasement is going to stop their propaganda efforts, in any way inhibit the radicalization that occurs online and in mosques to some extent? Speaking of mosques, Donald Trump has gone the opposite direction. He's not adhering to President Obama's admonition, to no surprise. He's got a new radio ad up.
That's great.
That addresses the question of ISIS in no uncertain terms.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message. The tragic attacks in Paris prove once again that America needs to get tough on radical Islamic terrorism. President Obama and other politicians have consistently failed us. Just hours before the attacks in Paris, President Obama said ISIS has been contained. It's amazing that the United States can have a president who is so out of touch. But it's also dangerous. Obama has no strategy to defeat ISIS, and now he's preparing to let hundreds of thousands of refugees from Syria into the United States. I will stop illegal immigration. We'll build a wall on the southern border, and yes, I will also quickly and decisively bomb the hell out of ISIS. We'll rebuild our military and make it so strong no one, and I mean no one, will mess with us. If I win, we will not have to listen to the politicians who are losing the war on terrorism. We will keep America safe, and we will make America great again.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President, Inc.
What do you think of that ad? Bomb the hell out of ISIS. It reminds me of McCain's following Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell comment back in the 2008 campaign.
This is more effective than McCain's because Trump, I think, means it. And I can't believe I'm saying something nice about Donald Trump. But that ad just gave me the chills.
Well, let me suggest something, too, in terms of the policy discussion here. This is from our friend Gary Kasparov, writing in the Wall Street Journal yesterday. It's an op-ed worth reading. He writes, even with France's stepped-up bombing campaign against ISIS in Syria and the U.S. vows to intensify its own bombing effort, the fact remains you cannot win hearts and minds from 30,000 feet. The problem with an air power only offensive is not only that you don't always kill the right people, but you can't protect anyone. The people of Syria and Iraq need the protection and stability that will starve ISIS of its main source of recruits. No bombs, whether American or French, can provide that. Airstrikes will inspire as many ISIS volunteers as they kill, while also creating countless new refugees. Destroying infrastructure makes the refugees' eventual return less likely. It also calls into question the ability of Donald Trump to simultaneously bomb the hell out of ISIS and create those safe zones in Iraq and Syria that he otherwise proposed. So,
but at least he has a plan. He has a plan. Obama doesn't have a plan or a strategy.
Well, that's true. That is true. You can't beat a plan with no plan.
Right. You can't follow a plan if you don't have any guidance.
All right. I'll tell you what. We'll take your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. We'll take your calls on the other side. And also, we'll have the Chicago response. And if you expect it to be idiotic, then you are not going to be disappointed.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
312-642-5600 is the number. Your call's next. And hold on to your hats, get out your winter coats, boots, and shovels, because it's a coming today. Enjoy it. It's going to be windy, though. Wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour, a high of 45 degrees tonight. Into the 20s we go. And Friday, some sun in the beginning, then increasing clouds. Snow at night into Saturday, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches. Let's get the travel times and the calm before the storm. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Still relatively calm on the Kennedy. A little slow Harlem to Foster. 22 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 21. Eden's a little slow now, Devon to the junction. In fact, that's a 3-minute delay. The outbound side, heavy Montrose to Peterson. Eisenhower. Delay start at Wolf Road. 38 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33. Stevenson, 41 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. And delays on the eastbound Adams Tollway from 59 to Meacham. There's a crash. 2 right lanes are blocked. It's a big delay, and it's growing. Northbound Tri-State slow 95th to 87th from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
You are rolling your eyes at me, and it is rude.
So I understand. Yesterday, you said your bowling average was $1.60. I scoffed at that. I suggested that was inflated. I understand some recalculations have been done, and there's a revision.
Yes, there's a revision. My average is 132. My high was 192. Then I
192?
Oh, yeah. And I have a little...
How long ago? Was that like when you were in your 20s?
No, that was last summer. The key is you have to do yoga before you go bowling, and really, you're quite more flexible, and you can control the ball.
You don't have to tell me. 132. I think I could beat that. All right.
All right. We'll meet at 10-pin bowling lane.
Yeah, high noon.
Mm-hmm.
Gather your friends, your family, and your coworkers to team up for a holiday party that will be remembered for years to come. Make 10-Pin Bowling Lounge your destination for your office party or get-together. 10-Pin isn't just bowling. It's a cool, comfortable, upscale lounge with great music, delicious food, and a tempting drink list. You have to see their 128-foot video wall featuring your favorite sports teams on your own presentation. And you'll be on your game on one of the 24 state-of-the-art bowling lanes. If the pins don't go down as easily as the martinis, burgers, and conversation, don't worry. It's only part of the fun. Let their expert team of party planners customize your event, big or small. There's room for everyone. So enjoy your next happy hour, corporate outing, or party at 10-Pin Bowling Lounge downtown on State Street, right next to the House of Blues. Come for the bowling. Come for the showdown between Amy and I. Between Amy and me. God, I'm losing my grasp of the English language.
Hanging out with me too much, are you?
Or just come to 10-Pin for everything else, including an English lesson. Get started today at 10pinchicago.com. That's 10pinchicago.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
It's a great product. The years I was on it for like about 3 years before, and I noticed I was not sick at all. And the couple of months that I was off of it, I ended up having a cold, and I haven't had a cold in like all the years that I was on it before. So I'm back on it again, and I don't intend to get off of it again because I've seen the proof in the pudding, you know.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure, losing the family home? You'd be not alone. See, people, we are in the aftermath of what is being revealed to have been the greatest financial crime spree in history, perpetrated by the Wall Street investment banks smuggling and packaging mortgages, and continuing this day by the mortgage servicers that service the mortgages. I'm Lou Bridges. I have a law firm I put together. We defend foreclosure actions. We help people do strategic defaults, short sales, and modifications that include restructuring. Call us for a free consultation. We'll tell you what to look for in hiring a foreclosure defense attorney. We'll tell you some of your options. We'll give you a free consultation. But whatever you do, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Call 224-513-1231 or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's 224-513-1231 or FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense law firm.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Chicago Pauls, the ruling class politicians in Chicago, have a response to Governor Rauner joining 30 other states and pressing the pause button on Syrian refugees. Do you think it's going to be informed? Do you think it's going to be intelligent? If you think either of those things, then you have not been paying very close attention to the Chicago City Council or the ruling class policy in Illinois for some time. The City Council yesterday, Chicago City Council, lording over one of the worst-run cities in the Western world, passed a resolution.
What did that resolution say there, Dan?
Opposing Governor Bruce Rauner's decision to block Syrian immigrants from entering Illinois. So said Alderman Ed Burke, the moral authority of the City Council.
Would you care to hear from Ed Burke?
I guess.
The governor of Illinois has no authority in this regard, nor do the governors of these other states.
Yeah,
right.
Got that.
Alderman Burke, Councilor Burke. Follow-up question. What authority does the City Council have to designate Chicago a sanctuary city?
Well, one of the aldermen brought a Syrian refugee family that has been here for the last 3 years, and they're holding their baby and smiling and saying, look at these people. Look at how happy they are. I mean, it was a show and tell. It was a little bit embarrassing, but they're saying, no, they're not radicalized. It was so stupid. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's right up there with the Crane's editorial that Steve Jobs' biological father was a Syrian immigrant.
Yeah, so there you go.
And so?
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And these are your captors, ladies and gentlemen of Chicago and Illinois. I hope you're enjoying it. Also, speaking of nonsense, that, of course, calls to mind Jan Schakowsky. Jan Schakowsky said this is an opportunity to have a conversation about gun control, the Paris attacks. This is Jan Schakowsky on XM radio this week. I'm quoting her. No, obviously it is frightening for every Western country, but I do want to remind you, before we killed a jihadist named al-Awlaki, he did a video that said to Americans, join the jihad and get guns because it's so easy in the United States of America to get a weapon. And that ought to be a chilling reminder because aside from blowing themselves up, which is, of course, not about small weapons, these people use the kinds of weapons that are still available in the United States, and I think it ought to cause us to have another consideration of sensible gun safety laws.
Ooh.
Sigh. By the way, automatic weapons not easy to get in the United States. Just point of order. Not that Jan Schakowsky cares about such facts. Oh, let us go to Charles in Aurora.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
I'm a Vietnam veteran, Marine Corps, 3rd Marine Division.
Thank you for your
68, 69, 70. Thank you. And I'm also a committeeman in Naperville Township over 30 years with our Republican Party. And we got some crazy Republicans that also do not know what they're talking about. And as far as there's some of them, not all. There's some that only do a little touching. They don't have the real story
Well, Charles,
on what
Charles,
ISIS is all about.
So what? Some Republicans are siding with the president. You're suggesting?
Oh, definitely.
Thanks for the
That
call.
is what I'm. I also talk about the Democrats.
Thanks for the call, Charles. Appreciate it. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Trump's ad is perfect, I think. I hope that there's a graphic that goes along with that while he's talking about bombing the hell out of everybody and nobody's going to mess with America. I would like it if it were accompanied by a graphic of him ripping the head off of like a Putin bobblehead. But the reason that Obama's on his Bash America tour and bringing in all the foreign refugees, as well as the Chicago Council, is that he already has their absentee ballots probably loaded on Air Force One there. He needs to get them in here because they've already voted, and they just need to record those votes. That's all he cares about. It's all he ever will care about. How many more days before he leaves office?
Yeah, right. That's the Chicago way, Ralph.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with an overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. Spend the night in Molly's room, their two-room luxury suite with a private bath and concierge service. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for $79 per couple, valued at $169. Hey, if you need to stay closer to home but want to laugh out loud, then be a part of the show at Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets normally $44 a pair. Find them at CRD for only $22. Hey, be sure to get your car ready for that special night out with a new deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash includes the wash, vacuum, windows, and dash, an $18 deal for only $10. Make a date night and take advantage of all the entertainment deals waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Josh Katz, former CIA officer, discusses the downing of the Russian plane and the Syrian refugee program at 6:36.
And mailing it back, an award returned. We'll explain. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, we have 47 degrees. The president promising to veto a bill Republicans are pushing through the House that would create new hurdles for Syrian and Iraqi refugees to enter the United States. House Speaker Paul Ryan says there's a simple reason to push this pause button on the president's refugee program.
Our bottom line is very, very clear, and it's the first responsibility of the federal government: secure the homeland, keep people safe in America.
New York Democrat Eliot Engel this morning says rejecting some Syrian refugees would violate American values.
These people are the victims of ISIS. They're fleeing from ISIS. They are not ISIS.
Meantime, Belgium's prime minister has unveiled additional anti-terror measures that he says will increase security personnel and focus on eradicating messages of hate in his country. Many of the attackers in Paris last week came from Belgium. French military says since last week's terror attacks in Paris, it has destroyed 35 ISIS targets in Syria, dropping over 60 bombs.
We with you! We with you!
Thousands of airport workers are walking off the job at 7 of America's busiest airports this morning. SEIU says about 2,000 baggage handlers are on strike at airports like those in New York and here in Chicago. More than 70 American Airlines passengers will hopefully have a much smoother flight out this morning at O'Hare. Previous flight last night, destined for Manchester, England, had to return after running into turbulence. And Dunkin' Donuts is coming to a porch near you. The donut chain is beginning deliveries this week in Dallas. The company says its DoorDash online ordering service is on the way in L.A. and here in Chicago in the coming weeks. Chicago sports, Cubs first team in years to win 3 offseason awards. In the same year, Jake Arrieta wins the Cy Young. Bulls over Phoenix 103-97. College hoops, Providence beat the Fighting Illini. Northwestern over Fairfield. And on the ice, the Blackhawks beat Edmonton in overtime. The news, a service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Avoid traffic by riding Metra, CTA, Pace. Roll comfortably into town for classical music, contemporary dining, or both with the money you'll save. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity is tired of the double standard.
The Carson campaign disputes Politico's unsubstantiated claim that he ever claimed to have applied to West Point or have been admitted. He never said he was admitted or even applied. This is what we've come to expect from Politico. Dirty politics. Let's see, we can go through every Republican candidate, but Hillary lies and she gets away with it.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Remodel your kitchen or bath with Galaxy and get free installation, free design, and free financing. Call Galaxy at 773-783-8300 or schedule online at galaxyhome.com.
This is Amy Jacobson. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy. 800-489-0201.
636 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the west side, Ohio Street is closed at Cicero Avenue. There's a house fire in that area. Inbound Eden's delay start at Devon. It's 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 20. The Kennedy, 27 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound now 31. About Eisenhower. 45 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 39. Stevenson, 48 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 45. It's a crash past Central, blocking the left lane. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 22 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed. Barrington Road to Meacham due to a crash, which has cleared now. Traffic service of the Ad Council. You may not witness bullying every day, but kids do. Want to help but don't know how? Visit stopbullying.gov. Be more than a bystander, stopbullying.gov. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Winds gusty this morning. A cooler day ahead. A high of 45, a low of 27 overnight. 45 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so we finding out more each day about that Russian airliner that was downed in Egypt, 234 people on board killed. Well, now I would say murdered because it seems like it was a terrorist attack. Reports yesterday included a picture that ISIS posted of a pop can bomb of sorts.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it. We say pop, but they're calling it a soda can bomb, which was pineapple pop in a gold
Schweppes.
Okay.
Yeah, get the brand out there.
All right. Was it a Schweppes? I just saw a gold pineapple.
Schweppes pineapple gold.
And then they showed a switch with it and some wiring, but where was it placed on the plane? Who brought it on the plane? Those questions still remain.
And $50 million reward offered by one Vlad Putin for information leading to those responsible. I don't know if ISIS is going to claim that $50 million reward since they're saying, look over here at us, we're responsible. For more on this, we're joined by our friend Joshua Katz. Joshua Katz was a U.S. Army Ranger, a CIA official, and is now was a senior policy advisor to the House Committee on Homeland Security, and is now with the Enright Group. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Great to join you guys again.
So, what's your assessment as you're reading these news reports based on your intelligence background of the ISIS claims to have downed this Russian airliner and takeaways we should glean from what we know to be true at this point?
Yeah, well, I think what we know to be true is that ISIS did, in fact, kill all on board on that flight, and it's unfortunate. I think the jury's still out, so to speak, on the picture, the soda can, the pop bomb. There are parts of it missing, parts of it that don't necessarily make sense. The quantity of explosives that could contain probably couldn't have done what they're claiming it did. So there's a lot of questions. It's probably at the end of the day just propaganda and ISIS just trying to make us more fearful.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of people were saying yesterday, especially on social media. How could something so small create so much damage? But if it was in the belly of the plane, could it have been possible?
Well, it's possible. You don't need that big of an explosion to puncture the fuselage of an airplane. But in this case, it's depending on placement and all of that, which is still not known. Probably won't be known for time of ever. I'm a little doubtful here, just because I think ISIS is trying to jump on the bandwagon to just make us more fearful, because it looks like an average soda can. The average person's going to look at that and go, "Oh my gosh," and that's exactly what ISIS wants.
What does it say about security, though, and thinking about airline and airport security in this country? We talked to a gentleman who's in the business of providing like food carts and catering services to airplanes, and he said, look, one of the easiest ways to sneak on a device like that wouldn't be going through TSA. It would be to get something into one of these food carts through a vendor or through someone that works works at the airport, on the runway or the tarmac area. What's your assessment of airport and airline security at this point, particularly in the wake of the stories over the summer, where a lot of weapons were able to get through TSA screeners?
Yeah. So there are two avenues here that I think we need to discuss, especially as we move into the busiest travel season of the year. One, internationally. And everybody needs to understand that the regulations, the rules, safety procedures that you see in the United States do not have to float internationally unless that flight is bound for the U.S. So don't expect safety and security like you get in the U.S. overseas, ever. And in the U.S., we have a lot of problems with TSA. We as travelers need to be vigilant. Workers need to be vigilant, and unfortunately, the threat here is from our own. Like we saw in the Paris attacks, those attacks staged carried out by some of their own members of society. That's scary. but we can overcome that by being brave and by keeping our heads and eyes out of our phones and looking around.
That voice belongs to Joshua Katz from the Enright Group, former CIA intelligence expert. Joshua, I want to ask you, Russia so far has conducted 55 missions, bombings with aircraft. Do you think stepped-up airstrikes are enough to defeat ISIS, or do we need ground-to-ground battle?
You know, this is the debate that's raging, and it absolutely baffles me that some of the smartest people in America are actually saying that air power is good enough. Air power has never been good enough to defeat an enemy. It won't ever be good enough to defeat an enemy. It is part of a military tool, the military mission. However, throughout the history of air forces, never won a war. They have to be supplemented by ground forces. They have to be supplemented.
I just don't want to break in, but we've got some breaking news too. Just to underscore your point, breaking news now confirming that the mastermind behind the Paris attacks was killed in that French raid yesterday. Aboud was killed in that French raid, but again, that's police and I assume with intelligence support in Paris, going into a neighborhood in Paris to get this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. This is hard intelligence work. I think part of what we're all talking about is like the electronic surveillance, the electronic intelligence. But really, after the Paris attacks, France really had to step up their human intelligence game. And part of that human intelligence game leads to the actual boots on the ground, as we all talk about it. But the raid that happened that led to the mastermind of the plots being confirmed killed.
Now, they released a few videos, ISIS saying, taking credit for what happened in Paris, saying Washington, D.C. is next. Then yesterday they redid, so to speak, an April propaganda video showing Times Square in the video. Do you think we should be vigilant always, but is this just more propaganda, or do you really think this is a believable threat?
Well, I think you have to believe that they're trying, right? But this threat is nothing new. This is nothing that is more timely or more credible than any of the other threats that we get daily, by the way, daily threats from ISIS. So, the other day there was the threat against Washington, D.C. I have been tracking with my app, TerraView, been tracking the threats against D.C., direct, credible threats for weeks. So that one video is not anything new. None of this is really new. They're just trying to capitalize on our fear, and we can't let them win here.
I want to ask you a question about the Syrian refugee program, given the increasingly heated rhetoric, mostly coming from the Obama White House. Is Obama right and John Kerry right when they suggest that 31 governors who want to press the pause button and House Republicans, Paul Ryan, who wants to press the pause button in the Syrian refugee program, particularly in light of 5 Syrians detained in Honduras yesterday with Greek passports, 8 Syrians caught at the Texas border trying to come in through Laredo. People wanting to press the pause button, are they hysterical? And if they're not, what is President Obama trying to accomplish?
Well, I think that this is, to call them hysterical when all they want to do is to just pause, right? I think that the administration is trying to push through an agenda no matter what the reality is, and keep on trying to create a fantasy. And they want us all to live in that fantasy with them. The problem is that fantasy is dangerous. It is not good for America. Now, we are a country founded by immigrants. So say that we're not going to allow immigrants in, I think is absolutely ridiculous. But in this case with Syrian refugees and the limited intelligence we have, we need to pause. We need to ensure that the director of FBI is comfortable. He is not, and he has said as much. We need to make sure that our intelligence collection has been ramped up to help the vetting process. Currently, I will tell you that vetting is impossible when it comes to Syrian refugees. It's absolutely impossible. The administration knows it. They just don't want the American people to know it.
All right, Joshua Katz, former squad leader, U.S. Army Ranger, former CIA operations officer, now a principal with the Enright Group. Josh, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A lot of news to get to in the weather department. We have wind gusts today up to 40 miles per hour. It will be cooler as the day continues with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 45 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, colder, a low of 27 degrees. And tomorrow, Friday, looks like this. We're going to have sun in the morning, then increasing clouds. And wait for it. You know it's coming. The snow begins at night. By mid-morning Saturday, we could have anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of snow. We're getting out the shovel and we're getting out the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And with that winter weather, we get more house fires. There's one burning this morning on the west side of Chicago. It has Ohio Street closed in both directions at Cicero Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway is a big backup. Barrington Road to Meacham after an earlier crash. Northbound Tri-State, there are delays from around 115th to 87th, from Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eden's inbound, 27 minutes. Like Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 33 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. The Ike, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound it's 39. Stevenson, now 58 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound an hour and 4 minutes. There's a crash past Central in the left lane. The Ryan, 21 minutes. 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Corporate profits and economic reports influencing market direction today. We're watching for more volatility in the crude market. Those stories next.
Well, son, we did it. We opened our very own private storage IRA with the Gold Silver Group.
You mean the Gold and Silver IRA that you can store privately?
Yes. We called the Gold Silver Group, and they were great. They explained all our options. The Gold Silver Group has 3 simple steps that made it easy. They gave us the best prices, and now we have our IRA Gold and Silver in our hands. We even qualified for an extra $700 in free silver.
Okay, Dad, now you've got my attention.
You insure your house, the car, the kids, your health, and even the dog. Don't you think it's time to insure your wealth?
Call 800-540-8479. Learn how easy it is to set up your own private storage IRA and how to qualify for up to $700 in free silver. Protect your portfolio. Diversify with Gold and Silver. Have your Gold and Silver IRA privately delivered to your door, fully insured. For the best service and best prices, call Gold Silver Group. 800-540-8479. 800-540-8479.
Economic reports and corporate earnings in focus on Wall Street today. Investors reacting to quarterly reports from Best Buy, Keurig Green Mountain, L Brands, NetApp, and Salesforce.com. Keurig and Salesforce sharply higher in extended trading, both companies delivering stronger than expected quarterly results, shares of Salesforce hitting a record high above $80 a share. Investors mindful of geopolitical fears as they assess reports on weekly jobless claims, Philadelphia area manufacturing, and the index of leading economic indicators. And we could see more volatility in the crude oil market. Crude prices yesterday dipping below $40 for the first time since August. Ultimately, prices settled near $41 a barrel. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help. We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson and Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson and Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson and Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson and Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hi,
Wow.
Dan and Amy, look, these are confusing times when you look at the leadership of vaunted institutions, but it doesn't mean that everyone is confused. A lot of Americans get it, don't they, Amy?
They do, and which leads us to, do you remember Maura Smith? She was a 38-year-old mother of one. She was the only female NYPD officer to die on September 11th. 23 NYPD police officers died that day, but she was the only female, and she was being hailed a hero because she saved dozens of lives from both towers, just telling people to get out of here, run. She never left her post. She never gave up on saving lives. So in 2001, shortly thereafter, she received the Women of the Year award from Glamour magazine, and her husband accepted the award, posthumously in her honor. And, he's had it up on his mantle place by the fireplace, and he's, showed people this award. And it was a wonderful memory.
But no longer he has it up on the mantle.
Because he has FedExed the 2001 Women of the Year award back to the magazine with a scathing letter denouncing Glamour's decision as insulting to have Caitlyn Jenner be Woman of the Year. He did not like that. He said it ruined the memory of his wife's work that she did in saving lives, because Caitlyn Jenner is not a woman. Caitlyn Jenner is a transgender person who claimed that the hardest part of being a woman is deciding what to wear. Oh, so she trivialized, the hardest aspect of being a woman.
And Mr. Smith said in an email that he sent to Glamour, my precinct covered a shelter for transgendered youth. On several occasions, I responded there to take reports or give aid to suicidal youths. I listened to their stories of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, young people thrown out of their homes or fleeing from unlivable conditions. They didn't have the luxury of being part of the Kardashian circus. They weren't living in a Malibu Barbie house surrounded by what passes for family in Hollywood. They were truly brave people fighting hourly for existence. And that he distinguishes from one Caitlyn Jenner and the Hollywood hoopla over that circus.
If you want to own a brownstone, you've got to call Townstone, Chicagoland's premier home mortgage lender since 2002. Hi, I'm Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. All of us at Townstone know you have many choices when it comes to your home mortgage needs. So we want to make sure you dial 312-896-2111 because Townstone Financial only does home mortgages. In fact, our current and past clients over the last 13 years call us the mortgage experts. Why call Townstone? Because we make purchasing a home, refinancing, or getting a reverse mortgage easy. That's right. Townstone makes the process stress-free because we are the most knowledgeable group of mortgage professionals in the industry. And I'm the owner, so I guarantee it. We crush the big banks every day when it comes to mortgage rates and closing costs. So give us a chance to earn your business. The call is free, so make it now. 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639.
The Gun Safety Guy's mission is pure and simple: to help good people safely enjoy recreational shooting and improve their ability to protect themselves and their family responsibly. This is what Pastor Ed Bryant, the Gun Safety Guy, has built for you and your family. Pastor Bryant's background and experience enables him to communicate with all of his students, no matter what their age, gender, or ability. New shooters learn the fundamentals, experienced shooters develop their skills, and above everything, all shooters are taught to value safety first. Family-friendly firearms instruction is the core of the Gun Safety Guy. I'm kind of an intermediate handgun shooter, and I took his pistol class. Excellent. He's not kidding when he says safety is the core of his instruction. for shooters of all levels. Really a good class. I'm looking forward to taking more of his class, including his self-defense class outside the home. So give the gift of firearm safety this holiday season. Gift certificates are available. Learn more at thegunsafetyguide.com. That's thegunsafetyguide.com. Family-friendly firearms instruction with NRA-certified instructor Pastor Ed Bryant, thegunsafetyguide.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Apparel of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Every chance I get, we like to thank our active duty military and our veterans. In addition, we proudly serve and support Operation Support Our Troops America.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Deb Rickert, founder of OSAD America, mom of 2 service members, and 1 happy Precision Payroll client. We are so happy to work with Tom's team at Precision Payroll to take care of those regulatory headaches so that we can focus on serving our active duty and veteran communities. Your support is so important. Thank you.
Deb, thanks for all you do. And anybody who's listening who signs up with us, we will make a donation to OSAT America on their behalf. So please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's make a difference together.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Does Trump have it right? Should we start looking at mosques? We'll have it at 7:07.
But first, here's Mike Scott.
Operations returning to normal at O'Hare and security workers walking off the job. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. They got him. The mastermind behind last week's deadly terror attacks in France is dead. Fox's Simon Owen, live in Paris.
Dave, confirmed a few minutes ago by the prosecutor's office here, Abdelhamid Abaoud has been identified as one of the people killed when heavily armed police stormed an apartment in northern Paris in the early hours of yesterday morning. The prosecutor saying he was identified based on skin samples. Abaoud was a Belgian national in his mid to late 20s, and until yesterday the thinking had been that he'd pulled the strings from Syria. But now confirmation that he wasn't just in Europe, he was in Paris itself, and that he's been killed. Dave?
Simon, about 8 others were taken into custody in that raid yesterday. France keeps dropping bombs on ISIS, claiming to have destroyed 35 targets since Friday's attacks, going after Islamic militant command centers and training sites. ISIS has put out a new video threatening New York City, where Fox's Tanya J. Powers is live.
NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton says New Yorkers will not live in fear.
There is, as we have repeated frequently, no city in America that is better prepared to defend and protect against a terrorist attack.
That newly released ISIS propaganda video promises more terror attacks featuring footage of Times Square, Herald Square, and Fifth Avenue. Commissioner Bratton says that part of the video is old. Now, there is one new part, the portion that congratulates last week's Paris attacks, Dave.
Tanya, House Republicans could today do something President Obama's warning them not to. Approve a plan to pause the program to let more refugees into the U.S.
Syrian refugee program can be infiltrated and abused, like we saw with one of the Paris attackers.
Homeland Security Committee Chairman Michael McCall, the president is vowing a veto. Jared Fogle, who threw away his Subway fame in a child porn and sex with teenage girls scandal, will be sentenced today. He could get more than 12 years behind bars. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, 47 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Operations returning to normal at O'Hare after high winds forced the shutdown of some runways and hundreds of canceled flights. More than 70 American Airlines passengers will hopefully have a much smoother flight this morning out of O'Hare after their previous flight, destined for Manchester, England, had to return to Chicago after running into turbulence. Over 100 security workers at O'Hare planning to go on strike today, staging a wildcat walkout over unfair labor practices, and similar actions are planned at other airports across the nation. Chicago police may be forced to release a video that is said to show an officer shooting a black teen 16 times. Cook County judge will rule today on whether to order police to release dashcam video of the October 2014 shooting death of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. Police argue McDonald was refusing to drop a knife when officers confronted him. Mayor Emanuel forced to downplay a new report that the city's speed cameras issued more than $2.4 million worth of unwarranted tickets in the last 6 months. We get an update on this story from AM 560's David Stewart.
The Chicago Tribune reports the city routinely ignores rules about when the cameras are allowed to be in operation, leading to an estimated 110,000 bogus tickets. Mayor Emanuel says there's a procedure to follow if there has been a mistake.
Where we have to actually, if their system has made a mistake, people get their checks back, and we have a process to handle that.
But only about 23,000 of those who got those tickets have won refunds. The mayor says the cameras have been successful in reducing crashes near schools and parks. David Stewart, Chicago.
Chicago sports, NBA last night. Jimmy Butler 32, and the Bulls win over Phoenix 103-97. College hoops, Fighting Illini fall to Providence by 1. Northwestern knocked out Fairfield, and on the ice it was the Blackhawks over Edmonton 4-3 in OT. Cubs' Jake Arrieta wins the NL Cy Young. The news service of Target Red Card. At Target, your debit and credit red card is like the gift that keeps on giving. 5% off your holiday wish list on every shopping trip. So let the stocking stuffing begin. Brought to you by Target Red Card. Restrictions apply. See program rules in-store or at Target.com. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
When all is said and done, and the Obama administration rides off into the sunset, what one overwhelming theme will be the lasting impression? Here's one: asleep at the switch. While ISIS was making a rampage across the Middle East, we did nothing. While a Syrian dictator was killing 300,000 of his own people, we did nothing. When thousands of those same refugees came pouring across the border, we did nothing. Unfortunately, we were, and still are, asleep at the switch. So keep it here to learn what we can do about that. AM 560. The answer.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller. Guaranteed. Viviscal is clinically researched to promote existing hair growth from men and women. You'll love your hair growth results. Guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now. 800-881-4950. 800-881-4950. That's 800-881-4950.
Do you have a retirement account? Is it likely to go up 60% or down 60%? Wake up. Low interest rates support the market, and it won't last forever. It's time to hedge with solid gold. You will regret not doing so in the next market crash. Do it right. Don't pay a setup and storage fee. Discover how. Call Goldworth. Request the IRA guide free. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
7:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Stevenson Expressway is a mess this morning with an outbound crash past Central factoring in. This has the left lane blocked. Fire department is there. The truck leaking some diesel, so it's a big delay, and it may take a while to clear. Outbound jam from the Rye to past Central. Looking at an hour and 18 minutes from Lakeshore Drive to 355. Inbound, an hour and 6 minutes, with the delays especially heavy from First Avenue to Kedzie. The Edens is 30 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 24. The Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. The Eisenhower, now 54 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 40. The Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go Southwest Highway to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed to 59 to Meacham after a crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, winds gusting past 40 miles per hour with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high of 45. Then tonight, mainly clear, breezy, and colder with a low of 27. Some sun, then clouds tomorrow, high of 46. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
45 at O'Hare, 47 along the lakefront. Next news coming up, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Property Tax Show, Saturdays at 6 p.m., hosted by Brad Hayes, Chicagoland's property tax expert.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So it's quite severe in Europe now, and I also believe that copycats in America will do the best to do what their brothers have done in Europe.
We'll build a wall on the southern border, and yes, I will also quickly and decisively bomb the hell out of ISIS.
When individuals say that we should have a religious test, that's offensive and contrary to American values.
He just called me offensive. The day before, he called me un-American. If you want to insult me, you can do it overseas, you can do it in Turkey, you can do it in foreign countries. But I would encourage you, Mr. President, come back and insult me to my face.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. In addition to Trump's new radio spot where he promises to bomb the hell out of ISIS, he's also suggested that shutting down mosques is an idea that might need to be considered. Is looking at shutting down mosques, is that a good idea? 312-642-5600. That's the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. There was an interesting exchange on Megyn Kelly's program between a Trump spokesman and a woman named Saba Ahmed, who is the head of she's a Republican group. What's her GOP Muslim Coalition, the Republican Muslim Coalition. So an interesting discussion. Two people starting from a lot of the same premises, which always makes the most interesting conversation, in my view.
Didn't know they had a group.
Yeah,
the Muslim Republicans.
Here is what Ms. Ahmed said about what Trump had suggested.
I think it would be very helpful if the president or the White House...
That's not her, but this is.
Megyn, we go to the mosque to pray. It's absolutely horrifying to hear that our constitutional rights of free exercise of religion are now going to be challenged just because somebody thinks that there may be some attendees who may disagree with your views. But the thing is, you wouldn't shut down churches just because there was one or two Christians who were acting badly. The mosque has nothing to do with the terrorists. Yes, there are people who misuse the religion for their perverted ideology, but that has nothing to do with my faith.
Here is my thought on that. One, I don't like the Christian comparison because it's not apt. It's not the scale is completely different. So I'm not particularly persuaded by that. But the idea of opening up the question or the suggestion that we may have to shut down mosques, I don't like that. One of the differences between America and these Islamic theocracies that are the hotbeds of terrorism is that we believe in
freedom of religion,
religious pluralism.
Yeah.
And the Trump spokesman that was on with Kelly made provided the example, I guess I should say, of the mosque that the Zarnea family attended in Boston, and that the leaders of that mosque are now in federal prison for terrorist-related activity. It's a good point that she makes, but the point is to say we're not going to target mosques. We're going to target mosques if we have credible information that perhaps the imam or the leadership of the mosque is using a religious institution as a front for terrorist activity. That's something completely different. But to make kind of the general statement of looking at shutting down mosques, to me, is not as specific as a statement like that needs to be.
Trump is saying what he thinks his voters want to hear. There's anger out there. People want action. Let's, go so far, bomb the hell out of ISIS, but let's shut down the mosques here. Not a good idea. I like the mosques for one aspect two aspects. One, freedom of religion, then freedom of gathering. I understand that. But also they could police their own. So if somebody is trying to plot a terror attack, they have done that where they've turned on their own and they've turned them into police. It could be, part of a vetting process, part of the line of protection. And that's happened before, and that happened in Bridgeview at the mosque there back in the late 90s. They turned in one of their own. The imam did.
The Holy Land Foundation and all that as well. Yeah, so you have to look at nonprofits as well, and we're going to shut down all Muslim-related nonprofits. Kind of make statements that are too general for the seriousness of the suggestion. That's my big problem with what Trump had to say. The other thing I'll say on this, I mean, I've said this before. Here's what our foreign policy should be with respect to foreign aid. No money to countries that do not protect religious minorities, that do not have free elections. You want to stipulate better conduct in some of our on-again, off-again allies. Religious minorities are protected, wouldn't have some of these refugee crises that we have, and you have free elections. Otherwise, you're on your own. Before we get to your calls, I want to also point out a must-read piece from Walter Russell Mead in The American Interest in terms of President Obama preening about religious tests and pretending to take the moral high ground on this matter of refugees, a crisis that he, in significant part, created. And Walter Russell Mead has a good synopsis of this. He writes, Obama's own policy decisions, allowing Assad to convert peaceful demonstrations into an increasingly ugly civil war, refusing to declare safe havens and no-fly zones, were instrumental in creating the Syrian refugee crisis. The crisis, in large part, the direct consequence of President Obama's decision to stand aside and watch Syria burn, after drawing the red line, for him to try and use a derisive and symbolic program to allow 10,000 refugees into the United States in order to posture as more caring than those evil Jacksonian rednecks out in the benighted sticks is one of the most cynical, cold-blooded, and nastily divisive moves an American president has made in a long time. That is a very good summation of exactly what President Obama is doing, both in terms of his policy and the rhetoric in support of the policy. And just one more voice. This is Richard Haass from the Council on Foreign Relations. Hardly a right-winger. Council on Foreign Relations, hardly a right-wing organization. International is Woodrow Wilsonian organization, generally speaking. Here's Richard Haass commenting on what President Obama's alleged strategy is in dealing with ISIS.
I think it would be very helpful if the president or the White House essentially articulated what they think is a reasonable, doable strategy of victory right now. What is, for example, the rate at which we want to the territory held by ISIS in Syria and Iraq? Then they could talk about what kind of a plan do we think we need to do to bring that about, how many forces, what the United States would be prepared to do in conjunction, in part of a coalition of the willing, so to speak, with other parties, the French, the British, several Arab elements. Then we can begin to have a strategy. We simply don't have one, and I don't understand what is our definition of near-term victory or success here. And unless you have that, it's very hard to conduct any sort of an operation. And that is what is missing. The president was complaining the other day that he wasn't getting credit for the strategy he had put out there and claiming his critics were really offering nothing new. And I just don't think that's right.
There you go. I mean, increasingly the regime has to be bunkered in Washington because it's only their most loyal subjects that are supporting the nonsense emanating from the White House. Let's go to Kenny in Joliet. You're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you guys doing? I think this is kind of equivalent to yelling fire in a theater. Certain types of speech aren't protected, and the kind of speech Donald Trump's talking about is radical Islamic speech that tries to basically turn young people against Western, values in a militaristic way. Poor the campaigner in chief, couldn't get Israel to crush their values. So what he's trying to do now, and this is Obama directly, is to try to control what we as Americans think. He somehow thinks that our values are his values, and they're not.
But Kenny, in terms of the fire in a crowded theater argument, how do you propose to regulate the speech that goes on during Muslim prayer service or in a mosque generally?
The gentleman Rahman is from the First World Trade Center bombing. These are the kind of people Donald Trump's talking about, people that are trying to basically commit terrorist acts.
Right, okay. Okay, thanks for the call, Kenny. I mean, I agree with that, but I just, again, my concern is the lack of specificity, and it just opens doors for all kinds of intemperate interpretation. Henry in Lake Villa.
Yeah, Dan, listen, once again, you're going after Donald Trump, but you're never saying what your candidates would do, which is nothing. All of your
his candidate
candidates will
wants
do
to
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And,
face-to-face
you know,
with
it's
Obama.
very
So
interesting.
Henry, just so I'm clear, so no other Republican candidate will do anything on this matter, only Donald Trump. That's your
Well, you're-
position? Is
you're
that your
criticizing-
position? Is that your position?
Well,
Because that's what
hey,
you
quit
said.
interrupting me.
See you later, Henry. It's my show. You get your own show if you don't want to answer my questions after you make a charge. Thank you for the call. Carol in Des Plaines.
Hi, I think Donald Trump was a little unfiltered. I think he says what he thinks instead of thinks about what he says. I do think so, and this is just my opinion, that maybe some of these mosques do need to have an inspection done. I'm not saying shut them down. We are a nation of religious freedom, but with the circumstances being as they are, I think that someone needs to go in and do an inspection and make sure there are no tunnels and find out what's really going on in there. And if they want to come to my church and do the same thing, heck, our doors are open. Let them. If it needs to be across the board, it needs to be across the board. But under the circumstances, the people from the other countries come here to be safe and to be protected, and we as a nation need to do that. And if it means inconveniencing people for a little while, then unfortunately that's what we have to do. That's all.
Thanks for the call,
Donald
Carol.
Trump just said that to grab headlines because it's, again,
Well-
it's what his constituents want to hear. It's an anger-filled message, and we're going to shut down the mosques here in the States.
Well, and to Carol's point, I mean, I understand what Carol's saying, but, look, before you have the federal government trampling into churches to do inspections, I mean, just think that through a little bit. I like probable cause in a free society. I don't like mandatory government inspections of places of worship. Sorry, that's me. Stephen Hinsdale.
Yes, I attended Hope College in Holland, a Christian college. I graduated from St. Louis University with a public health background. This is also a Christian college. Anytime the federal government wanted to come in there and examine anything, that's fine with me. I agree with the previous caller that we need to get these mosques on alert, and we need to go in there, and if they've got nothing to hide, they'll be happy to bring them in. But these Muslims are training their kids at 3 to shoot it. So we got to step it up. And we are a Christian country, and I agree with the other guy too. This whole Barack Obama thing about we don't like his values. I don't like his values. I don't want his values. Good. That's stupid. That's the only time he's correct. I do not believe in his values. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thanks, Steve. Sean in Elmwood Park.
Where is the humanitarian outreach programs, charitable institutions that have benefited the citizens of around these mosques that are non-Muslim, that benefit the Christians, that benefit the homeless, that benefit the agnostics, because they don't exist. It is a cult, not a religion. And I have one more thing that happened today that I take issue with. You ran cover for that moron Scalise by not playing his own version of how he basically said, we're going to do what we want in Chicago, regardless of what Rauner says. And here's the message that the rest of the Illinois Republicans need to send. If you're not going to listen to what we tell you to do, we're not going to give you our money. And you can drown in the corrupt poverty and failure you have made for yourselves in the mobocracy we refer to as Chicago. So take the rest of the little midgets with you and fund yourselves, morons. And that goes for the fat teachers that are basically daycare workers as well.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine now, but things are going to be changing around here. We're going to have some clouds later today. A high of 45 degrees tonight, a low of 27. And for Friday, sun in the beginning, then increasing clouds, really the calm before the storm, because Friday night into Saturday, the snow begins, folks, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches, depending on where you live. A high on Saturday of only 37 degrees. Welcome to winter. Now let's get the travel times and see if there's any delays on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Are there ever? Not much pre-Christmas cheer here. Amy, eastbound Adams Tollway, we have another crash at Meacham. Second one in, just under 2 hours. So the delays are once again massive from Beverly to Meacham, where the right lane is closed. Then there's the Stevenson Expressway outbound past Central. A crash has moved to the left shoulder, but massive delays start at the Ryan. An hour and 18 minutes from Lakeshore Drive to 355. Inbound, it's an hour and 6 minutes. The Eden's 34 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 27. Kennedy now 54 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 36. The Eisenhower's 54 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop outbound 41. The Ryan 21 minutes from 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Dan Proft, and it's Movember. Guys, you know what that means. Mustaches and taking better care of your health. In honor of Movember, Low T Center is offering a testosterone and PSA test for only $50, and no appointment is necessary. Low T Center makes it easy to get your levels checked. I experienced it personally. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and you'll know your results within minutes. Their services are covered by most health insurance. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol, and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. And Low T Center even has convenient and flexible hours. So take care of yourself this Movember and get your PSA and testosterone tested for only $50. I did. It's easy. Call my friends at Low T Center today, 630-409-4305. That's 630-409-4305. Or visit them online at lowtcenter.com and tell them Dan Proft sent you.
Discover the wonders of Mexico's Pacific Paradise with Apple Vacations. Nestled between the Sierra Madre Mountains and the sparkling Pacific Ocean, Vallarta Nayarit provides the perfect blend of culture, adventure, luxury, and pristine beaches as far as the eye can see. Book your getaway during the Apple Vacation Super Sale and save on holiday and January travel. 7 nights at Barcelo Puerto Vallarta start from only $10.49. Or discover a hidden beach in Riviera Nayarit. A full week at Occidental Grand Nuevo Vallarta starts from just $11.79. Both trips include round-trip nonstop air, resort transfers, all meals, drinks, and taxes. Call Traveloni at 312-334-7876 to book your trip today. That's Traveloni, 312-334-7876. Or visit Traveloni.com. Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit, Mexico. Live it to believe it. Prices per person based on double occupancy for select departures starting January 1st, including Charter Air on Aeromexico or Alaska Airlines from O'Hare, and taxes and fees including September 11 security fees. See AppleVacations.com for baggage charges. Prices subject to availability and change. Restrictions apply. PC 15-111-14095.
This is Michelle DeVal from DeVal Jewelers. Dennis and I want you to know that when you sell your diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, and estate jewelry to us, we will strive to give you the highest cash payment possible.
And all transactions are strictly confidential. There's absolutely no pressure. And like Michelle said, we can pay you 50% more by eliminating the middleman. Why? Because we are direct buyers.
We buy certified diamonds and engagement rings, 1/2 carat and above, broken and used gold jewelry, estate jewelry, gold and silver coins, and more. We really do understand the sentimental value and pledge to be considerate, knowledgeable, and private.
We have been Chicagoland's family jeweler for over 100 years. We take pride in having the perfect jewelry selection for every budget and taste preference.
We're just south of the Kennedy on Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Call us at 708-867-8200. That's 708-867-8200 or visit DAVALLE.com.
DeVal Jewelers, more bling
and less sting.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick-and-mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state-of-the-art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years' experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us, trustinamerican.com. That's trustinamerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, should, as Trump suggested, some mosques be shuttered? Amy think that's just Trump's tongue.
Oh, it's just Trump hyperbole. It's a bunch of bunk.
I think Dennis in Vernon Hills agrees with you. Dennis?
Yes, I do. I think it's ironic. A week from now, we're celebrating Thanksgiving, and the Pilgrims came here for religious freedom. And, Dan, I think you hit on the right perspective, which is if we have a clue or things to follow, let's let probable cause lead us, just like we would if it was a sexual related crime with the Catholic Church and the priests that we've all dealt with over the past years and decades, or any other type of crime. But to put a blanket statement out like that, he's just pandering to people who are frustrated. And we have to be better than that. And we have to remember what we stand for and not fall prey to that type of rhetoric. That's another...
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Thanks for the call, Dennis.
He's a reality TV star. He says what the people want to hear. It's all about ratings and getting votes.
He's doing a pretty good job so far. Harry in Lake Zurich.
Hi, how you doing, Dan?
Good.
I am, and Amy. Yeah, as I told the screener, I said, Dan, as a lawyer, wouldn't inciting to riot or conspiracy to commit, murder or other acts come into play here, with depending on what's being preached?
Well, that's right, but I mean, but there's got to be evidence to support such an investigation or such action.
Course.
What's being suggested is a preemptory investigations, and that's where I draw a line. I don't like that.
What would be wrong with putting people in there to listen to what these people are saying?
Well, they probably are doing that. They're just not telling us about it.
Well, again, I mean, to have the state snooping on sermons it's the same threshold. What is the basis to have a law enforcement operation targeting a particular institution, whether it's a Catholic church or a mosque?
I understand that, but if there are accusations of people saying, "Hey, these guys are talking about sending people out to commit murders and things like that," I would think that accusation would warrant. They're not snooping. They would be going and listening. They don't have to do anything. If nothing, that doesn't mean they're affronting their religion and saying, okay, you can't, we're going to shut you down because of what you're saying. If it's inciting to riot, or I don't know what other charges would be involved. If there's some kind of conspiracy there to overthrow the government or commit murders or something like that, which I assume is going on in some of these mosques.
Thanks for the call, Harry. I mean, that's right, but that's now you're getting to clearing that evidentiary threshold for probable cause. That's kind of my point.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow. It conforms to your neck and back. It keeps its shape and gives you support where you need it most. If you have problems with snoring, chronic headaches, neck pain, back pain, insomnia, allergies, you should try MyPillow because you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. So basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose, and you could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It's so important to get a great night's sleep. Go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, and you'll get 2 pillows for the price of one, plus that 60-day money-back guarantee. Now, do it now because this offer is for a limited time, or call 800-489-0201, 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, where do I sign up, Dan?
And the question we'll have for April Lawson, the creator of the sex strike on the city's south side, is, has Amy Rule signed up yet?
Oh, that's so rude. That's the mayor's wife. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Winds out of the west at 14, clouds and sunshine this morning. A state of emergency in France may receive an extension. France's lower house of parliament today approving extending it by 3 months after the prime minister warned the country could fear a biological or chemical attack. That after a Paris prosecutor said moments ago the suspected mastermind of the Paris attacks, Abdelhamid Abaoud, was killed in yesterday's police raid. The prosecutor's office says Abaoud's body was found in an apartment building targeted in the raid in Saint-Denis, north of Paris. An ID made through skin samples. Republicans plan today to push legislation through the House that would increase screening for Syrian and Iraqi refugees trying to enter the United States.
We need to put a pause on this program and have higher standards placed upon it so that we can verify on a person-by-person basis each and every single refugee whether or not they pose any security risk. And if they do, and if we can't without a shadow of a doubt prove that, then they shouldn't come here.
President Barack Obama is promising a veto, but many Democrats in the House and some in the Senate are already backing the bill. Former Subway pitchman Jared Fogle is being sentenced today after admitting having inappropriate videos and pictures of minors. He's expected to plead guilty this morning. He could be sentenced to as many as 12 and a half years in prison. People in Oklahoma and Kansas had their sleep interrupted, not by snow, but by a magnitude 4.7 earthquake that shook them awake this morning near Cherokee, Oklahoma, not far from the Kansas line. Operations are returning to normal at O'Hare after high winds forced hundreds of flights to be canceled or delayed. More than 70 American Airlines passengers will hopefully have a smooth flight out of O'Hare to Manchester, England this morning after having to return to O'Hare after running into turbulence. 100 security workers at O'Hare are planning to go on strike today over what they call unfair labor practices. And Chicago police may release video that is said to show an officer shooting a black teenager 16 times. A Cook County judge will decide today whether to order police to release dashcam video tied to the case in the shooting death in 2014 of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. Chicago sports, Cubs win another postseason award. This time Jake Arrieta claims the NL Cy Young. Bulls over Phoenix 103-97, and the Blackhawks winners over Edmonton 4-3 in overtime. The news, a service of Amtrak. Going home for the holidays? Then leave the car and traffic behind and let Amtrak take you there. Enjoy large, comfortable seats and their best saver fares to over 500 destinations. Book early at Amtrak.com. See where the train can take you. Restrictions apply. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I think America is dying.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Everybody came here to be free. Everybody came here to strike it out on their own. Everybody wanted government to stay out of their hair. Everybody wanted to be free. Not today. We have way too many people in America who no longer want that America.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walmart.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
7:36 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the west side, Cicero Avenue is closed between Chicago Avenue and Race. That's south of Ohio due to a house fire. The Edens is 34 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy now 54 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 43. The Eisenhower is an hour and 2 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 43 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 14 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound an hour 10. To a crash past Central on the left shoulder. The Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go Southwest Highway to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed 25 to Meacham after 2 crashes. The other tollways are heavy too. Traffic service of RCN. Entertainment redefined. Get award-winning superfast 155 internet and awesome digital TV as low as $55.94 per month. Plus take TV anywhere with RCN to go. It's awesome, amazing. RCN Entertainment Entertainment redefined. 1-800-RING-RCN or RCN.com. Traffic answers when you need them most on Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Winds gusting past 40 mile an hour today with clouds and sunshine mixed. High near 45. Clear, breezy, colder, 27 overnight. Tomorrow, sun, then clouds on the increase for the afternoon. And after the evening rush on Friday, snow begins to fall. We'll top out at 46. 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
She's my new hero, Dan. April.
Yeah, she
Lawson.
beat Spike Lee to the punch, but not Aristophanes.
No.
She had to get up pretty early to beat Aristophanes to the punch. But this is fascinating. This Southside woman, April Lawson, she started a movement, including the accompanied Change.org petition to really ratchet up the warfare in Chicago, pulling out the most powerful weapon of all, ending carnal relations until the violence on Chicago streets
what
ceases.
My people call a sex strike, Dan.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it is. And we're now pleased to be joined by the aforesaid April Lawson. April, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, awesome. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So, April, what was your breaking point when you realized, you know what? I'm going to take it to a new level and go on a sex strike and try and get other women to join me?
Okay. It was really the death of Kaylin Pryor and Tyshawn Lee happening hours of each other and blocks of each other. And actually, I'll preface this by saying that I had been sick. And when you're kind of bedridden, I had a cold, and I was bedridden for like a day or so. And I kind of turned off the television and the radio, and I was submerged with this book. And then the first thing I see is sometimes, this huge article plastered on there about what had happened. And I was just like, wow, and I'm literally downtown, on my way to work. I'm on State Street, this huge area of commerce, and I'm watching what I'm seeing, men, African American men, are like hanging out in lines in front of like the Jordan store. I was just like,
and you thought they should be back at home protecting their women and children.
I'm just like, did you? And I remember I went into the store and I just kind of, I was like, hey, you guys, just, did you see this? Are you aware of this? And I'm like, and you guys are here. This is your priority right now. The neighborhoods are kind of falling apart, and you guys think that the gym shoe should be an action item. Okay, I got it. So I don't know. That right there was really disturbing for me. It just seemed like there's something really, really wrong with kind of carrying on. Like this is normal to hear about third or fourth graders being executed in our alleys, and then everyone just wants to kind of move forward and like it's another normal day with no consequences.
So April, I appreciate what you wrote, your Change.org petition. You wrote, I'm done marching. I'm fed up with chanting catchy slogans like Black Lives Matter and so forth as the predicate to announcing this sex strike and calling on others to sign up as well. I'm tired of we're seeing these midnight vigils and T-shirts since Ben Wilson was killed when I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
So this is sad. It happens every few months, and we decide that one of these fatalities is going to be something that we rally around, and nothing changes, as you suggest. But in terms of the sex strike, doesn't that only matter if you're dating a gangbanger or a drug dealer?
Absolutely. And yes, it does.
So maybe it should just be don't date gangbangers and drug dealers.
I like that, but I think that it really just has to do with me taking a personal stand. You know, this is my individual stand that I'm going to take. If anyone else would like to join in it, great. But it's kind of like, you know what it's like? It's kind of like how Rosa Parks one day just said, no, I don't think so. I'm tired. And because she did that, she became kind of like a catalyst for others, you know. So that's for me, my personal stand. And
so
that's kind of where I am. But specifically, yes, I think, sure. But if I am an example, then maybe these young ladies are good. It's one thing for me to knock on their doors and be like, oh, you know what, young ladies? Here's what I think you should do. You should keep your panties up and your skirt down and stop hanging out with those ruffians.
Oh, boy.
Okay, but then but maybe I can show them better than I can tell them.
Okay. All right. Well, so let me ask you this then. I mean, I know this is in its nascency, but how many people have signed up so far? Or how's the catalyzing going?
The last time I checked, there was maybe like 40. And again, I'm not here for, I don't think that it's something that needs to be quantified. If you want to think of it this way, I mean, I'm one woman and you're on the radio with me. So one woman made some kind of impact.
Yeah.
So if I've got 40 who are thinking about it, who are talking about it, and this has been since last week. I started this last week.
Right. Maybe if Amy Rule signs on, then we really got something going.
Amy Rule's the mayor's wife. That's very funny. All right. So what kind of feedback are you getting, and how are you making sure that these women are staying celibate?
Now, that's a great question, and I don't know. I don't know how I don't know if I get like a celibate meter and put it on them and be like, yeah.
Chastity belts. Bring back the chastity belts.
You know, so that's a really good question. And I just had to go by faith right now because I can't monitor you.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of a tongue-in-cheek question. That's a hard thing to monitor.
And again, I think that, you know, again, I can focus on myself and monitor myself. I can decide what I'm going to do and make sure that I stay true to the cause.
Has it been difficult for you so far?
So far, so good. And the guys that I've been out on dates with have, you know, they've understood that as soon as I get home, you know what? Good night.
Good for you. I love it. Have any gangbangers or people in, you know, that you know, have they confronted you and said, hey, can we drop this sex strike or anything such like that?
No, but I can say that there are younger guys, like around 24, you know, 20s in the early 20s, who, you know, like there's this little guy. He's adorable. He works at the Walgreens. He literally is a manager there at the Walgreens on 79th and Racine, and he will stop his stacking up of products to come over to me and me. Hey, are you that lady that's doing that sex strike? You know what? Let me tell you something. That's not going to work. I'm going to tell you why it's not going to work. And he will just be red-faced and debating this stuff with me in the store.
Well,
great.
yeah, actually,
awesome.
I mean, it's interesting. I like your perspective that essentially leadership builds consensus. That's part of what you're trying to do. But, you know, that kid at Walgreens that you're talking about, that's leadership to build consensus, too. Go get a job and be productive rather than being on the streets.
I don't want to be too much in his business, but I'm proud of him because he's actually one of the managers there. He's a manager at the Walgreens, and he took me aside and said, hey, let me, you know, I got off the streets and I used to run with these dudes and I know what they about. And you need to he told me, hey, you know, that little boy wasn't yours. It wasn't personally yours. So, you know, you just got to, in other words, hey, I learned how to compartmentalize what happens in my neighborhood. Come on, why can't you do the same? And I'm like, I told him, no, that little boy is my little boy too. And you don't have kids yet and you don't get it yet. But we're all connected, and I got to look at a larger picture here.
Yeah, and it's your neighborhood too, right?
So, April, when is this going to end? I mean, will the homicide rate have to drop, or the violent crime rate? What's your end game?
Here's the end. These are the things that I'd really like to see. Some actionable things on my little bullet pointed list that I want to see so I can stop. Okay. Number one, I want to see men come together. And I want for them to draft up some sort of treaty where upon they agree, You know, we're going to hold ourselves accountable to keep you as women and our children safe. Here's what we'd like to do, and this is the treaty amongst each other that we're going to set up, and we will sign it.
This is kind of
like
what Promise Keepers used to do.
Exactly. And I don't know what all of the specifics in that would be, but what I'd kind of like to see is just a network of men who live over here who decide, hey, we're going to monitor every block 24/7. 24/7, we're going to understand what's going on. Even if that means, okay, do we petition our aldermen so that we can get more cameras up in certain places? But we're going to patrol the streets with peacekeepers. And we're going to be out here. We're going to be out here so deep that you're not going to be able to have all this craziness. And how do we get to a level where we shun asinine behavior so much where it becomes almost impossible for you to engage in it? Kind of like the Amish. You know how the Amish do that?
Yeah, you get shunned, right? They turn their backs. Right. No churning of butter for you. No furniture building for you. Spike Lee has said that he likes what you're doing. He was asked about it. You've been invited to the premiere of Spike Lee's new film, Chirac yet?
No, I haven't heard from any of them, but I was just stunned, completely floored, and this is so completely unexpected and whatever. I read something yesterday where he said, I think it's a good idea. And that kind of got me. That just was unbelievably cool.
All right.
He actually mentioned me. Like, oh, wow, nice.
Well, I love
Somebody
what you're
thinks
doing,
it might work.
Yep, good for you.
All right.
God bless you.
Modern day Lysistrata, life imitating art. April Lawson, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm following her on Twitter now. It's AVTARPR if you want to follow April Lawson on Twitter. Forecast for today, plenty of sunshine right now, but it is windy. Hold on to your hats. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, a high of 45 degrees. Then things are going to be changing around here. The cold and snow is moving in tonight, a low of 27 degrees. And for Friday, sun, then increasing clouds, and the snow begins at night, continues into Saturday mid-morning, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of the white stuff. Let's get the travel times. The calm before the storm on the roadways, Jim?
Oh, it's pretty heavy, Amy. I don't know about calm. It's shut down on the west side due to a house fire. Cicero Avenue blocked between Chicago Avenue and Race, just south of Ohio, where that fire is burning this morning. There's some really heavy delays on the eastbound Adams Tollway from Beverly Road to Meacham after 2 earlier crashes. Northbound Tri-State jammed 115th through the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway from 31 to Eola, York to the Tri-State and the Veterans Memorial. Slow I-55 most of the way to Roosevelt from the Army Trail toll to 290. The Edens is 34 minutes either way between Lake Hook and Montrose. The Kennedy, now an hour. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 50 minutes. The Eisenhower is an hour and 7 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop. And outbound, an hour as well. There's a crash at Addison Road in the right lane. Stevenson, an hour and 14 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound an hour 10. And Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. No fun there. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. This week, Professor Charles Lipson from the University of Chicago joins us to discuss repression of expression on college campuses. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. This week, the number 97. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that aren't heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
The door opens at Midlothian Music. And just like that, you're a customer for life. With their huge inventory of hundreds of guitars, drum kits, and string instruments, they've got you covered. Midlothian Music, the largest American-made selection of handcrafted, name-brand instruments, lessons for every level of musician, and free lifetime in-house repair and service. Midlothian Music. After 54 years of success, they live and breathe music. Whether a beginner or a pro, Midlothian Music has the right equipment at the right price to make you a true rock star in your band or in your band. Talk to the pros in person 7 days a week. Midlothian Music, 708-403-3733, or visit midlothianmusic.com. That's midlothianmusic.com.
AST for Industry. This is John Haidt. My company is Anti-Seize Technology. We are the company behind hundreds of products used by industry and manufacturing worldwide. For over 35 years, my local company has made lubricants, adhesives, and sealants. I put my products up against any other company for quality and value. That's why we say AST for Industry.
Your maintenance crew can save time, money, and your equipment. Slick-On Flow Lube is a superior spray-on industrial lubrication for your sliding, rolling, squeaky, turning, press-fitting needs. Slick-On Flow Lube keeps your equipment in service and reduces costly breakdowns. Slick-On Flow Lube is a great product for your maintenance team from Anti-Seize Technology.
We will prove products from Anti-Seize Technology are better for your industry. Contact us for a demonstration. Go to AST4Industry.com. Remember, AST4Industry.com. Check out our line of lubricants, adhesives, and sealants for your company. AST4Industry.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy,
Can we read these text messages?
the sex strike being led by April Lawson, not generating a lot of support from our texters.
Why?
Text from 630, this is the most reality-disconnected human being in existence.
That is so rude. She's not.
Another text.
If you read her, sorry, I urge you to read her petition online at change.org. Very well written, and I support her. I'm not going to sign up for it, but I support her.
Oh, boy.
Just in case you were wondering.
Oh, brother.
Too much? Too soon?
I'm afraid that I'm sorry we all had to hear that.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Too soon. I love the product, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
Boy, oh boy, I feel terrific. Nothing compares with this. It's a great product. I love it. I haven't been sick since I've used it. A little bit more than a year, or just about a year now. Never the case before.
I have noticed a remarkable difference.
I don't want to stop using it. It has really kicked into my system. I just believe in it. That's all I can say.
I feel more sustained. It's good. I'm not fatiguing as much.
Really making a difference in my life.
The quality of my sleep has improved exponentially.
They're just awesome.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Reading Texas, and I'll get off that change.org petition page. All righty, then here we go in 3, 2, 1. When you buy a new house, you don't buy the first one you see, and when you sell your house, you don't choose the first real estate broker you hear about. You choose the agent backed by the most powerful brand in real estate, and that agent is Ed Lukasik Jr., owner of RE/MAX Professionals. Now, Ed doesn't need to offer gimmicks like promising to buy your home because he can't sell it or 24-hour listing agreements. Ed does offer the promise of hard work and an aggressive, innovative marketing plan to sell your home. The most compelling reason to call RE/MAX Professionals is the best. Ed Lukasik Jr. has closed over 1,600 homes since 2008, giving him the knowledge and experience most agents can't obtain in their whole career. Get this, the average real estate agent closes 7 homes a year. Ed sold over 229 listings just the past year alone. So make the right choice. Choose RE/MAX Professionals to list your home. Get an in-person market analysis straight from Ed by calling this number, 630-679-5454. That's 630-679-5454. Sell your house with the professionals, RE/MAX Professionals.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
American schools are mass-producing students who are not only largely ignorant of history, science, literature, and geography, but also unable to read, write, or add properly. Among the world's 34 richest countries, the U.S. is ranked 27th in math, 20th in science, and 17th in reading. America's educational crisis is no coincidence. Progressive education says that teaching children how to express themselves and get along with others is more important than teaching them facts or developing their ability to think rationally and independently. If you'd like to know more about the philosophical cause and solution of America's educational crisis, check out Teaching Johnny to Think, a philosophy of education based on the principles of Ayn Rand's objectivism by Leonard Peikoff at ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Ron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
Blue skies and sunshine, and the stories we're watching today. Operations returning to normal at O'Hare after yesterday's strong winds. O'Hare's security workers set to strike today, and the Hawks beat the Oilers. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. He won't mastermind anything anymore. French police got their man in that terror raid yesterday, public enemy number 1 after last week's deadly attacks. Fox's Simon Owen live in Paris.
Dave, Abdelhamid Abaoud confirmed dead by the prosecutor's office here. The Belgian man suspected of planning Friday's attacks on Paris, killed in a police raid on an apartment in the north of the city yesterday. The Paris prosecutor says that operation busted a terror cell that was preparing to launch fresh attacks. But the hunt continuing for 2 other fugitives suspected of direct involvement in Friday's killings. Meanwhile, one half of the French Parliament voting to extend a state of emergency here for 3 months, giving police broader powers. The other half votes tomorrow. Dave?
Simon, ISIS has threatened New York City in a new video using old images of Times Square showing a suicide bomb. Mayor Bill de Blasio says
the people of New York City will not be intimidated.
Saying people must go about their lives. Worried ISIS could hide terrorists among refugees, House Republicans could pass a bill today to pause the program to let more into the U.S.
We can be compassionate, and we can also be safe.
President Obama promising a veto. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
That's right. The president is promising to veto that bipartisan bill that would improve screening for Syrian refugees, including FBI background checks and sign-offs by top Homeland Security officials.
My expectation is after the initial spasm of rhetoric, that people will settle down, take a look at the facts, and we'll be able to proceed.
House Speaker Paul Ryan said the bill would not subject applicants to a religious test. The president, meanwhile, is moving forward with plans to bring in an additional 10,000 Syrian refugees over the next year. Dave?
John, we're just learning a cop has been killed in California. The officer was found shot dead outside Downey Police Headquarters in L.A. County. The search for a suspect continues. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
42 degrees outside. Winds are gusting out of the west at 16. Morning. I'm Mike Scott on AM 560. The Answer. Jim Telemonte will be along in just a moment. Quite a big impact on the Brown Line this morning. Trains they're not running effectively at the moment because of a problem with a train derailing on the Brown Line this morning. But Jim will have all those CTA delays and updates for you in just a moment. Meantime, operations at O'Hare are returning to normal this morning after hundreds of flights yesterday were scrubbed because of high winds. Over 100 security workers at O'Hare plan to go on strike today. They've staged a walkout over unfair labor practices, and there are similar actions planned at other major airports across the country. Federal judge sentences a suburban Chicago man to 16 years behind bars for putting dozens of guns in the hands of known street gang members. 36-year-old Walter Freeman of Lyle often exchanged crack cocaine for the guns. Governor Bruce Rauner's office has reached a 4-year labor agreement with 11 unions and criticized one larger union for not doing the same. Spokesperson for the Republicans says unions have agreed to deals representing 500 workers, bringing 17 labor deals reached by Rauner covering 5,000 employees. 3 Southside charter schools are closing at the end of the school year. The Board of Education voting to shut down the Amandla Charter High School, Shabazz Sizemore Academy, and the Bronzeville Lighthouse. Officials say the decision was made because of poor academic performance. Chicago sports. Jake Arrieta wins the NL Cy Young for the Cubs. Jimmy Butler, 32, and the Bulls win over Phoenix, 103-97. On the ice, Blackhawks over Edmonton in OT, 4-3. The news service of Target Red Card. At Target, your debit and credit Red Card. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, as in 5% off your holiday wish list on every shopping trip. So let the stocking stuffing begin. Brought to you by Target Red Card. Restrictions apply. See program rules in-store or at Target.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, big gains on Wall Street yesterday as investors showed optimism over an expected rate hike next month. Asian stocks were also up. The Chinese had pledged to stop, but top intelligence officials say the Chinese government hasn't stopped hacking American companies to steal industrial trade secrets. The U.S. will be releasing a report next month on digital espionage. Some lenders are getting tougher on those who fall behind on their student loans. The number of lawsuits filed by private lenders has increased over the past 2 years. That's despite a lower number of borrowers missing payments. Taco Bell's first restaurant will be rescued from the bulldozer. The fast food chain says it's moving the 53-year-old building from near L.A. to Taco Bell headquarters in Irvine. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
Hey, Chicagoland, Dave Ramsey here. For the last 20-plus years, we've helped millions of people get their financial lives in order. And now, for the first time ever, we're bringing our Smart Money Tour to you. Financial expert Chris Hogan and I will be at Willow Creek Church on January 12th. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck or wondering what you're going to do when retirement comes around, don't miss this event. Get your seats today at DaveRamsey.com.
Sponsored in part by Executive Green Carpet Cleaning.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller, guaranteed. Viviscal is clinically researched to promote existing hair growth for men and women. You'll love your hair growth results, guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now, 800-881-4950. 800-881-4950. That's 800-881-4950.
Have you purchased gold? Did you overpay in commissions? How much did you pay? Do you actually know? What are your coins worth today? You work hard for your money. Pay their high commissions or get more gold. Call Goldworth. Discover what big dealers hope you don't know. Request the Insider's Guide free. Don't buy another ounce without it. Call 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. Visit goldworth.com.
8:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Eisenhower has big delays on the extension from North Avenue to Addison Road with a crash in the right lane. Yike is an hour and 11 minutes from downtown to Thorndale, just 36 minutes to Manheim. Inbound an hour and 3 minutes Thorndale to downtown, 46 minutes from Manheim. Eden's 30 minutes either way between Lake Hook and Montrose to Kennedy. 57 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38. Stevenson looking at an hour and 15 minutes. Make it now an hour and 20 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. How about an hour and 4 minutes after a crash near Central? The Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed. Bryn Mawr to Belmont with a crash in the left lane. Northbound Tri-State delays. Harlem to 47th and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, slow Beverly to Beecham. Reagan Tollway from 31 to Eola and York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial from Fountain to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Clouds and sun today with wind gusts past 40 miles per hour, high 45. Clear and breezy tonight, low 27. Some sun, then clouds tomorrow, high 46. Periods of snow with rain mixed in early tomorrow night. Accumulation 1 to 3 inches, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
40 at O'Hare, 43 along the lakefront, 39 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPainChicago.com. World-class treatment for chronic pain. Go to MyPainChicago.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
So it's quite severe in Europe now, and I also believe that copycats in America will do the best to do what their brothers have done in Europe.
We'll build a wall on the southern border, and yes, I will also quickly and decisively bomb the hell out of ISIS.
When individuals say that we should have a religious test, that's offensive and contrary to American values.
He just called me offensive the day before. He called me un-American. If you want to insult me, you can do it overseas, you can do it in Turkey, you can do it in foreign countries. But I would encourage you, Mr. President, come back and insult me to my face.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What is up? The president's moral indignation is up. You heard at the top there, any sort of religious test for refugees is offensive and not consistent with American values, although it turns out that it is consistent with federal law. I know the president can't be bothered by such trivialities, but it is consistent with federal law. And to explain that in more detail, since he penned the piece that is being talked about, we're now joined by our friend Andrew McCarthy from National Review Online. Not only is he a contributor to National Review, he's also a former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York who led the 95 terrorism prosecution against Sheikh Omar Rahman and 11 others who, in the first World Trade Center bombing. We're always happy to have Andy McCarthy join us. Andy, so it is consistent with federal law, even though President Obama finds a religious test offensive. How's that?
Dan, well, there's a lot of things in federal law that President Obama doesn't care to be bothered with, and evidently reading it is one of those. The federal law that controls asylum and the federal law that controls who is a refugee, and you need to be a refugee to apply for asylum to the United States, both say that the government is supposed to inquire into religion, specifically whether religion is the basis for the fear of persecution. And, this highlights something that I think is very misunderstood in the public debate. Asylum to the United States is a official government act of compassion that's controlled by law. It's not controlled by the whims of whoever happens to be president at the time. And being in a war zone does not entitle you to come to the United States. There's no right to emigrate to the United States. And what asylum is about is whether you'll be persecuted, which is a different thing from whether you are in a war zone, because a lot of wars, even though wars are awful, are not about one side persecuting the other side. And since the metric that this is all about is persecution, it's common sense and that's why it's been reflected in our law like forever, that religion historically is one of the basic reasons that people get persecuted. So this isn't about, somebody saying that Christians are better than Muslims or that we value Christians more than Muslims. I can't imagine anything that would be more un-Christian to argue. It is that it's obvious, and I say it's abject idiocy to contend otherwise, that the threat faced by Christians and non-Muslims in the Middle East is profoundly, geometrically greater than the threat faced by Muslims in the Middle East, simply because it's perfectly obvious that ISIS wants to kill non-Muslims and persecute non-Muslims, whereas it wants to co-opt and rule Muslims. So that's, it's a very different thing.
So do these 31 governors who want to, take a pause from the Syrian refugees, having them come to their states, do they have a fighting chance?
Amy, I think that they have a fighting chance only if they get good cooperation from the Congress, and that's because of another awful development in our law over the last century. For the first century and a half of American history under our constitutional governing system, the states were responsible for internal enforcement, including immigration enforcement. There's nothing in the Constitution that makes the federal government responsible for immigration enforcement. The Constitution gives the Congress the power to state the terms of American citizenship, but originally enforcement was left to the states. And what was dubious was whether the federal government had a role at all. In the last century, the courts have said the federal government not only has a role, it has the principal role, and it can preempt the states from regulating in this area. So it's very difficult if that's going to be the law. If you're going to say that immigration is primarily a federal responsibility legally, it's very hard then to say that the states can basically combat what the federal government wants to do. That has to be done as a practical matter by Congress cutting off the funds for it.
When we're talking about people fleeing religious persecution, trying to emigrate into the United States, the argument that's offered against proposals like what Ted Cruz proposed, which is Christians from ISIS-controlled areas who are being persecuted, essentially first in line. The argument is made that, ISIS is also persecuting Muslims of the Shia variety, and so why should Christians get priority over Shia?
Well, first of all, it's not entirely true that they are persecuting Shia. Look, they persecute some of everybody, including their fellow Sunnis who they say are apostate.
Mm-hmm.
And with respect to the Shia, though, I would point out that ISIS is originally an al-Qaeda operation. It started as al-Qaeda in Iraq. Iran has had a systematic alliance relationship with al-Qaeda since the 1990s, and we proved that in federal court many times. It's been corroborated by intelligence reports over the years, including the stuff that was taken out of Osama bin Laden's compound. So it's not necessarily true on its face that ISIS has the same relationship with Shia as it does, say, with Christians and Jews. What I would say is that ISIS, as a matter of doctrine, systematically is persecuting non-Muslims, and in particular Christians. That doesn't mean that there are other Muslims who are not being who are subject to abuse. But what we're talking about is what is the likelihood of who ISIS will kill or otherwise persecute. And I think you can only categorically say that that is systematically the case with Christians and other non-Muslims. It may be the case some of the time or even a lot of the time with Shia, but then you just you calibrate what the likelihood of persecution is. Again, this is not about saying which lives do we value more. Mm-hmm. It's about the likelihood of persecution. And for the president to come out and say that people are suggesting that we care more about Christians than we do about Muslims is it's fatuous. It's just ridiculous. And it's suggestive of either demagoguery on his part or outright ignorance about what the law is.
Or both.
Could be a combo.
Yeah, could be. He could be two further.
So, Mr. McCarthy, today the House is going to vote on a bill aimed at adding new security layers to the screening process. Paul Ryan, House Speaker, said, this isn't a religious test, but a security test. Is he accurate with that?
I think it's a dog and pony show. Here's my attitude about it. If you fund it, you're for it. If Ryan wants to show that he's serious, don't fund it. But what they're doing today, so that they could have a shiny object that says, see, we objected to this thing. We said that they couldn't vet them. Everybody knows that these people can't be vetted. The question is, are you going to let Obama go ahead with it anyway? And it sounds to me like, Ryan, much like his predecessor, is going to huff and puff and do some theater for us, but when it gets down to brass tacks, they're going to fund it.
Question about mosques. We were debating this earlier in the show, based on what Donald Trump has said, that we have to consider the possibility of shuttering some mosques because these have, in some instances, been places where radicalization occurs and even terrorist plotting has occurred. What's your take on that and that statement?
Yeah, you can't. I think he's clumsily trying to get to the right point, which is you can't make mosques safe havens. In the United States, you can't shut down mosques like they can in Europe because we have a First Amendment here. But buildings don't commit terrorism. What you have to be able to do is surveil the mosques where you know that radicalism is being endorsed and encouraged. What we proved in our cases in the 1990s was that in mosques, the radical ones that the Blind Sheikh Network worked in, they stored weapons, they transferred weapons, they had conspiratorial conversations, they recruited for jihad, and so on. And we needed to have informants who went in there to tell us what was going on and even eavesdrop and record conversations, which also went on in the mosques. That's the sort of thing you have to do. You have to have a sensible intelligence effort, but you can't shut down mosques. And if you had good intelligence, you wouldn't have to.
He is Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney. You're just mentioning he led the 95 terrorism prosecution against the Blind Sheikh and 11 others. Also contributed to prosecution of terrorists who bombed U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. So he knows of what he speaks, and you can read his writings at National Review online, nationalreview.com. Andy, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine right now. Wind is the big deal. 40-mile-per-hour gusts. It will be cool. A high of 45 degrees. Then tonight, a low of 27. And for your Friday, some sun in the morning, then increasing clouds. And you know it, snow is on the way. Anywhere from 2 to 6 inches by midday Saturday. Let's get the travel times. How's the inbound Kennedy, Jim?
It's heavy, Amy, but not insane. 57 minutes is the travel time from O'Hare to downtown. It's 34 from Montrose, 28 in the Express. Outbound 38 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 29 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 34, the Eisenhower. An hour and 3 minutes Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour and 11 minutes. The major delays are from North Avenue to Addison Road with a crash in the right lane. Stevenson, looking at an hour and 14 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 56 minutes. The Ryan, 32 minutes. 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, packed solid. Bryn Mawr to Belmont after a crash. Northbound heavy, Soldier Field to Jackson. Tollways are heavy, though they're improving. We have stoppages on the CTA Brown line. In fact, service is suspended between Kimball and Western. There's been a derailment in the train yard there, and a shuttle bus is running instead. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
A big fat thank you to all our listeners who have purchased My Pillows. Of course, I'm addicted to mine. I'm an ambassador for the My Pillow. I love it. It conforms to my neck and back. I really can't sleep without it, and neither can our avid listener, Chuck.
Well, I got to tell you, I was skeptical at first listening to all the commercials, and when I received the pillow, took it out of the package, tried it the first night, put my head down, and I was asleep instantly. It's phenomenal.
And if you want to have a phenomenal night's sleep, then go to MyPillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code 2pillows for the price of one. Now, this offer is for a limited time, so do it now. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, 2 pillows for the price of one, plus a 60-day full money-back guarantee. So basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. And hey, with the holidays coming up, the buy one, get one free offer, keep one for yourself and give one as a gift. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Your audiovisual experience is one that's supposed to be enjoyable. If your home or office lacks the big-time performance you really need, it's time to be shocked with options from Sound Design. Sound Design has the technical background to build it all. They know the value of seeing a project through to the end. And Sound Design will stick with you until you're satisfied, even post-job. Home theaters, office video, and sound design. Sure, you can go order equipment from a big box store, but then what? Yikes. Sound Design knows they set the industry standard. This is a company that will take a potential new customer to a current customer space to show off their handiwork. That's why people rave about audio and visual solutions from Sound Design. Be sure to get a demo of the Bang & Olufsen speakers where sophisticated, sleek design meets amazing sound and function. You can visit sounddesigninc.com, but if you really want expert answers to your questions, call 630-548-7000. That's 630-548-7000. Sound Design, where quality service and installation makes the difference.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes. That stately music doesn't belong on college campuses anymore, Amy.
What happened now, Dan?
Well, a couple things.
I've got my list out.
Yeah, we're going back to the Ivy League. The poor and the downtrodden matriculating at places like Yale and Dartmouth. Some good news and some bad news. And it's,
What do we start with, the good or the bad? What do you want to start with?
Maybe good news.
Yeah, why not?
We're not getting good news from college campuses as much these days.
Mm.
Email Wednesday, Yale's president and the dean of Yale College affirmed their support for the residential college master and his wife, who activists were calling for their resignation because they didn't create a safe space with their Halloween costume policy.
Oh, that's right.
Remember the
Yeah.
screeching?
She was out of her mind.
Yes, the screeching undergrad who was identified and was also part of the residential college board that selected Nicholas Christakis to be the residential college master. But here's the email from the Yale president.
Do you want me to play her? I have her here screeching her. Do you think it's been embedded in your mind? You don't need to hear it?
Yeah, I can take a little
The
taste.
exception is because other people have rights too, not just you.
Walk away. Walk away. Interrupt me. It doesn't deserve to be listened to. In unsafe space here. Be quiet. For all Stillman students. You understand that? As your position as master, it is your job to create a place of comfort and home for the students that live in Stillman. You have not done that. By sending out that email, that goes against your position as master. Do you understand that?
Yeah. Do you understand that? What your position is as master?
Well,
do you understand?
It got a little worse than that. She was screaming and using profanity. She has not been suspended or expelled as far as I know. She should be. So this is, as I said, middled good news. But here's what the Yale president and the dean of Yale College wrote in their email. Both Nicholas and Erica Christakis, who's a professor there, remain committed to serving the college, and we fully support them in these efforts. They are exceptional teachers and scholars with a long-standing and deep dedication to undergraduates. So they did not accede to the demand of the bedwetters at Yale, who wanted the removal of both of the Christakises from their jobs and from the campus. So I suppose that's a minor victory in today's climate. By the way, in terms of all these demands, and racial quotas, have you seen any demands for racial quotas with respect to college sports teams? Because, their minorities are overrepresented, unlike college basketball and football teams. So should we also apply the representation that exists in society at large, or even in the student body, to the athletic teams at a particular college? I just would like some of those agitators to answer that question. Now, here's the bad news.
Oh, no.
This is over at Dartmouth. We mentioned this yesterday, but now we've got the video. This is Dartmouth Vice Provost Inga Lisa Amir, who, in response to Black Lives Matter protesters and students, if you can distinguish the two, who made their way through the Dartmouth Library to shut it down while yelling profanities at filthy white BH to white students in the library, F you white racist Fs, and so forth. There's an apology forthcoming, and the apology is from the Dartmouth Vice Provost to the protesters. Take a listen.
So, I'm very sorry about all of this. I know it doesn't help, but we received a lot of terrible calls today too, and we told them that they were all, ridiculous, and that the protest was a wonderful, beautiful thing.
Can you elaborate? What happened?
People, there's a whole conservative world out there that's not very nice.
Yeah, you go, Vice Provost. So the protests where people were yelling at other students, F you white racist Fs, filthy white, expletive, these were wonderful, beautiful things, said Amir. And any claim of harassment, despite the organizers saying harassment was their purpose, was ridiculous.
Can you imagine if the roles were reversed? If white kids were yelling at African-American students?
And it's the conservative world out there that's not nice. Being nice is saying F you white racist Fs. That's being nice.
That's not being nice.
It goes back to what Chesterton observed, which is that once you have given into unreason, you are ready for unkindness. On college campuses, they have given into unreason, and thus they are prepared for the unkindness that they're displaying.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
Take a quick look in the mirror. Hey, if you have bags and puffiness under your eyes, you can simply get rid of them just in time for Thanksgiving. Introducing Genucell Plant Stem Cell Therapy for bags and puffiness under the eyes. If you want great, glowing, firm skin, then use Genucell. Besides reducing puffiness under the eyes, it helps eliminate fine lines and wrinkles. And with its instant effects, which is a separate product, together you'll see results in the first 12 hours or your money back. They guarantee it. So order Genucell now, and the company that owns it, Chamonix, will give you the legendary Esotique Wrinkle Treatment absolutely free just for trying Genucell today. Call 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323. You will be absolutely amazed by the results or your money back. They guarantee it. So call now. There's only 1 week left until Thanksgiving, a week from today. And why not take years off your appearance and get compliments from family members and friends? Call today, 800-525-8323, That's 800-525-8323.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Continuing our discussion of what's going on in college campuses with historian Victor Davis Hanson at 8:38.
And it's report card time at Chicago Public Schools, but what language is the report card in? We'll have the answer. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunshine 42. French officials say the suspected mastermind of last week's terror attacks in Paris is dead. Police confirming today 27-year-old Abdulhamid Abaoud was killed in yesterday's raid in suburban Paris. The Belgian national, who is believed to be the ringleader of Friday's deadly attacks, ID'd by fingerprints. The lower house of the French parliament has voted to extend a state of emergency for 3 months in that country. The measure now goes to the Senate. The House in this country gearing up for a vote today on a bill temporarily blocking the resettlement of some Syrian refugees in the U.S.
Our bottom line is very, very clear, and it's the first responsibility of the federal government: secure the homeland, keep people safe in America.
GOP House Speaker Paul Ryan. Airport workers on strike at 7 of America's busiest airports this morning. SEIU says about 2,000 baggage handlers walked off the job in New York, Boston, and here in Chicago, where operations are returning to normal at O'Hare after high winds forced officials to cancel or delay hundreds of flights yesterday. Federal judge has sentenced a suburban Chicago man to 16 years behind bars for putting dozens of guns in the hands of well-known street gang members. Walter Freeman was sentenced yesterday. Governor Bruce Rauner's office reaching a 4-year labor agreement with 11 unions is criticizing a larger state employee union for not coming to an agreement. And a new app is available today for Metra, CTA, and PACE riders. The free Ventra app allows Metra commuters to buy tickets and display tickets on their smartphones. Chicago sports, Cubs and Jake Arrieta get the NL Cy Young Award yesterday. NBA, Bulls over Phoenix, 103-97. On the ice, Blackhawks over Edmonton, 4-3 in overtime. And here on AM 560 last night, Northern Illinois a comeback win at home over the Broncos of Western Michigan, 27-19. The news service of Massage Envy. Because of holiday traffic or whatever the reason, Massage Envy can help you manage the side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care. Get a free massage or facial service with a minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes college campuses are in trouble.
What's happened at the University of Missouri? I'm dumbfounded by the resignation of the president of this school. They're going to use your resignation and now hold college presidents and administrators and chancellors hostage if they don't get their way. America's college campuses are headed for such trouble right now.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Remodel your kitchen or bath with Galaxy and get free installation, free design, and free financing. Call Galaxy at 773-783-8300 or schedule online at galaxyhome.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I stopped taking artificially produced multivitamins, and I tried the Balance of Nature because it just makes sense. What's more natural than actual food? It just rings true. It just makes sense, and from a scientific standpoint, it makes sense also. You're supposed to be getting nutrition from whole foods. I definitely feel better overall. My energy level is better.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. CTA Brown Line service remains disrupted between Kimball and Western due to derailment of the train yard. There are bus shuttles running. West side Cicero in Ohio, the intersection blocked off due to a house fire. Eden's inbound, 29 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. Kennedy is an hour from O'Hare to downtown, but the express lane saved 10 minutes. Outbound 32 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour 7 after an earlier crash at Addison Road. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 52. Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed Bryn Mawr to Fullerton, where there's a stall in the right lane. Northbound Tri-State, slow 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis, Ogden to 31st. From the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Adams Tollway, slow Beverly to Meacham, Veterans Memorial, Fountain to the Reagan Tollway, the Army Trail toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Winds gusting early this morning, up to 40 miles an hour. Intervals of clouds and sunshine throughout the day. High 45, 27 overnight. 40 at O'Hare, 42 along the lakefront. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Ed Lukasik Jr. of RE/MAX Professionals. Get more money for your home by listing with a real marketing expert.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and that sharpest opinion reference is a good segue to our next guest, Victor Davis Hanson. He has an excellent piece. We were just talking about college campuses, what's going on in Dartmouth and Yale. He's got one of the best pieces I've read, as he usually does, on this topic. And one of the things he points out, this interesting dichotomy, just to reference it before we bring him on, he writes, the strangest campus derangement is the graft of Victorian prurience onto postmodern crudity. Students are quite sexually active and routinely use drugs and alcohol, nonetheless revert to virginal preteens who must be shielded from rough language or mere rudeness. They demand Victorian rules of sexual etiquette, but not commensurate 19th century notions of abstinent. Housing segregated by gender, dress codes that discourage randiness, or prohibitions against drug and alcohol use. Pick and choose campus feminists do not wish doors open for them, but insist that sexual codes delineate the stages of arousal from foreplay to postcoital pleasantries. How about that?
That's a lot to process, but I understand where he's coming from.
That is a paragraph that is well constructed, and that's Victor Davis Hanson, Stock and Trade. Victor Davis Hanson, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So a little bit of good news on college campuses. We were just talking about the courage of the Yale president to not fire the residential college dean and his wife, who had the audacity to not subscribe to the students' demands for Halloween costume prohibitions. How about that for a little hint of good news?
Oh, we've lowered the bar so well, I guess we have to be happy. But I think the whole theme, what I was trying to point is the hypocrisy, because these kids say they're adults, but then they dress up in little kiddies' costumes, and then they're afraid of things in the night, like a child might see a costume.
After trick-or-treating.
And the same thing about free speech. They talk about free speech, but they don't believe in the First Amendment, so they have these speech codes. The funniest thing was 56% of the Missouri football team were African American, then threatening to boycott unless the faculty and students meet a 10% quota of being African American. You want to say, okay, if you really believe in disproportionate impact, then everything should be that way. There should only 46 of you got to leave the team because you're overrepresented. We need Latino centers and Asian quarterbacks and more white kids on the team. The basketball team has to be integrated. But what I'm getting at is the university has all these rules, but they feel that they don't apply to themselves. So diversity maybe for the English department is not very important, but not for the football or basketball team. Free speech everywhere out, but not here. And then, they make fun of corporate CEOs and everything, but boy, you want to look at disproportionate compensation. If you're a full professor, like I was for 20 years, you teach a class, and a part-timer with a PhD, the same degree, same class, he gets about a fourth of what you do. And he has no job security, and yet you have this archaic principle called tenure. The coal miner doesn't get it. Nobody else outside of academia gets it, that you get lifetime employment after 6 years. So I guess what the problem is, the university says to us, we educate all your children, we prepare them for citizenship, so then all of these laws that you all have to abide by, free speech, employment laws, civility, all that, it doesn't matter because we're so important. And then you look at what they're doing, and they're raising tuition faster than the rate of inflation. Test scores are going down. They don't want exit exams, and they're not preparing people. So they're really an institution that has not been audited, and it's an archaic, fossilized idea that really needs to be held accountable.
Well, what about the right to free speech for conservatives on certain college campuses? Where's their safe space so that they can, vet their anger?
Well, that's not diversity. The diversity isn't just superficial the way you look. It's not ideas. They don't believe in diversity. And they're kind of Maoist. If you look at what happened in the Cultural Revolution or even the Committee of Public Safety in the French Revolution, where they swarmed, like this poor fellow at Yale, they just swarmed him. And then they started screaming him using four-letter words, and it was mob rule. And then suddenly they go into the Dartmouth Library, and they start pushing people. And then you've got this pathetic little Dartmouth dean that writes an apology note to them. And it's really a war between hard-left Maoists and liberal people. There's not a conservative in there's not a dog in that fight that's conservative. Liberals created this campus, and then the logical trajectory was to have Maoists take it over, and now the liberals don't know what to do with them. And so we're sort of watching an incestuous fight between crazy people.
Speaking of kind of intellectual discourse, you also had a piece, just changing topics a little bit, but kind of same sector, recently on the contretemps between Bill O'Reilly and George Will over O'Reilly's new book, Killing Reagan. And look, I just attended a lunch with Fred Barnes. Fred Barnes recounted an interview he did in the Oval Office with Ronald Reagan in 1987, where he couldn't have been more lucid, and he had encyclopedic knowledge of Hollywood movies in addition to all the policy discussions they were having. So it seems to me O'Reilly's scholarship is lacking, which I doubt will come as a surprise to many who've read his work. But here's the larger question. Bill O'Reilly's a popular talk show host on, the center-right Fox News channel. When it comes to people that have disproportionate platforms like Bill O'Reilly and how they choose to use them, how do you assess what's happening in terms of advancing the position of free minds and free markets from the perch that Bill O'Reilly has versus browbeating anyone who disagrees with him as he did with George Will?
Well, I mentioned Will's argument against the book, namely that it makes no sense that if he was shot in 81, then his greatest accomplishments, as you point out, were in the latter part of his tenure, so it wouldn't make sense. But I didn't really want to focus necessarily on the arguments of the book, but two things that I really thought were important. One, what you say, he doesn't have any decorum. He called Will, he said he was lying, which called him a veritable liar, and he called him a hack, and then he screamed and yelled. And he's done that before. And then he's devoting an inordinate amount of a primetime news opinion show on promoting his books, his lectures, his cups, his pens, his T-shirts, and it's almost a caricature. And you think, wow, if this is supposed to be the marquee cable news show, and it's supposed to be designed to giving an alternative view of what the mainstream media supposedly does, and you have one person in there that interrupts, berates, and then also uses at least 10 minutes of the show to promote his own stuff, it's time to take a second look at it. And what I thought was really unethical on his part is he brings guests into his show, and then he shows them videos of how he has appeared on other shows or how he thinks he's treated in the media, and then he says, you tell me what you think. It's like as I said, it's like a Roman emperor saying to some subject, well, this guy said I wasn't a good emperor. What do you think? And the subtext is if you say, well, I think the other guy was right, you were rude, you'll never be back on his show. And he knows that. So I think there's so many things going on in that show that it's time for, and I said, has he gone too far? And I think he has, and I think he'll either have to stop it or he's going to lose, eventually he's going to lose his audience. He's reached a point where he's gone beyond seriousness, and he's approaching caricature.
Yeah, it's a classic, enough about me. What do you think of me?
Yeah, no, but you don't do that. I don't do that in our professional lives. And then if I'm at the Hoover Institution or I'm giving a lecture, I don't interrupt a lecture at a university or a corporation where I'm speaking to plug a book that I do. Or I don't say, hey, by the way, I've got a tour that I'm leading. And that's a small thing, but it means it's even more important for him. And then
Will was sober and judicious and polite, and he let Riley talk. And when Riley said some absurd things that historians don't interview people with skin in the game, that's exactly who they try to interview, and then they try to determine whether that's hero worship or it's accurate, but you don't just ignore them. And so Will was basically doing in that interview is, I'm going to be quiet and let you guys hear this guy because he's absolutely unhinged on this subject of history. And it was pretty devastating, I thought. And,
yeah, I mean, and it's just, to me, it's an issue of self-policing, right? I mean, we're in Illinois, of course, and we've seen over the last 20 years the Illinois Republican Party self-immolate because there was no policing of bad actors or bad actions.
Yeah.
And so, well, this is inconsistent with who we are trying to be and what we're trying to promote. And if you don't do that even to the most powerful, then you're kind of sowing the seeds of your own demise.
Yeah, I think so. I think people have got to call him in and say, you're a big money maker, but you're not Fox News. And you've got to be polite. You can't interrupt. We like that you're edgy, but you got to stop the self-promo because this is turning into the Bill O'Reilly promotional tour every night. And that's not ethical, and it's not journalistic ethics. And I think it might work. I doubt that it would. And I think his argument is, I've got the big audience, and I'm untouchable, and I'm imperious. And he's like a Tiberius or Caligula or Claudius, and eventually it doesn't end well, and people are tuning out. I wrote that, it just came out 2 days ago, and I must have had 150 emails from conservatives saying, I don't watch it anymore, my friends don't watch it anymore, we don't like the way he treats people, we don't like the way he interrupts people, we don't like the way he puts people on the spot to critique his own TV performances, we don't like his personal feuds he has, that he attacks people at the end of the show. It's the Bill O'Reilly narcissistic, egomaniac hour. It's not anymore what it originally was. It's too bad because it fulfills a need to have some balance, but the need has been warped and distorted.
He is Victor Davis Hanson, and we like him. He's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute and a noted historian, particularly focused on the classics and military history. You can read his stuff at National Review Online and elsewhere. Victor Davis Hanson, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey Dow Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, another reason why CPS officials think all Hispanics are poor. But first, here's your forecast. Today, plenty of sunshine, high of 46 degrees, windy. It'll be wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. Then tomorrow, get even cooler around here. Sunny in the morning, increasing clouds by the afternoon, a high of 47. And the big news is Friday night into Saturday, anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of snow. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. West Side, the intersection of Ohio and Cicero remains closed due to a house fire. There's a service suspension on the Brown Line right now. No trains from Kimball and Western due to a derailment at a train yard. Eden's 29 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. The Kennedy, an hour. O'Hare to downtown outbound 32 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 17 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. 53 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 36 minutes to Manheim, an hour to Thorndale after a crash at Addison Road. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is a mess. Brainmark to Fullerton with a crash in the right lane, 45 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Gather your friends, your family, and coworkers to team up for a holiday party that will be remembered for years to come. Make 10 Pin Bowling Lounge your destination for your office, party, or get-together. 10 Pin isn't just bowling. It's a cool, comfortable, upscale lounge with great music, delicious food, and a tempting drink list. You have to see their 128-foot video wall featuring your favorite sports teams or your own presentation. And you'll be on your game on one of the 24 state-of-the-art bowling lanes. I always wanted to be a pin monkey. If the pins don't go down as easily as the martinis, burgers, and conversation, don't worry, that's only part of the fun. Let their expert team of party planners customize your event, big or small. There's room for everyone. So enjoy your next happy hour, corporate outing, or party at 10 Pin Bowling Lounge downtown on State Street, right next to the House of Blues. Come for the bowling or just come for everything else. Get started today at 10pinchicago.com. That's 10pinchicago.com. The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
The Dream Police. I love this song. Yesterday, big day for Peyton and Eli. It was report card pickup time at the old CPS schools. And I have copies for you, Dan. Here's Peyton's report card.
Did they make Mom proud?
Yes.
More importantly, did they make me proud?
Open it up.
My exacting standards. Look at that.
Straight. Say it.
Straight A's.
Straight
Very
A's.
nice, Peyton.
Yeah, okay.
Good job.
And here's Eli's.
Eli's.
Just a little bit different. Just a tad different.
Eli's the one I'm concerned about.
Oh, no. Just
Eli's straight A's. It's all good.
Yeah, but look at what language it's written
I
in.
don't know what the A's are in because it's in Spanish, but I recognize the letter A.
We've had a problem. Russell has been enrolled in the ESL. I'm sorry, Eli's been enrolled in the ESL program since he was in second grade because his last name is Hispanic. So it was the first one, but for some reason they didn't have as many ESL teachers. And Russell kept getting pulled out of class saying, Mommy, I'm always having special time with a one-on-one teacher. And he's excelled in ESL because they think that he speaks Spanish, but he doesn't. He speaks English. And I've gone to the school several times saying, don't waste tax dollars giving him special treatment because ESL, it doesn't exist in our house. We speak English. English is our first language, not in Spanish is our second language. But they don't care. They just see a last name and they think, oh my gosh, he must need help speaking English.
I'm glad Peyton and Eli are doing well, but CPS makes my head hurt.
Peyton or Eli?
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dan Proft with an upstream idea brought to you in part by the Illinois Opportunity Project. Baa1 is Illinois' bond rating after its most recent downgrade by Moody's. A more accurate grade would be F because the continued deterioration of Illinois' creditworthiness represents the failure of Illinois' political ruling class to abide its fiduciary duties to all of us. So what happens when Illinois' ruling class runs out of your money to spend? Well, they devise a new scheme to take more of your money to address the crisis they created. In the movie The Prestige, the Michael Caine character, Cutter, explains that every great magic trick has three parts. The pledge, where the magician shows you something ordinary. Here we have a relatively low state income tax, and Illinois is one of the few states that doesn't tax retirement income. The turn, where the magician takes the ordinary and does something extraordinary with it. Let's raise the relatively low flat state income tax as well as create a new tax on retirement income, and Illinois' financial problems and the needs and wants of its families will disappear. And finally, the prestige, where the magician has put the trick right in front of us, but you don't see it. You want to be fooled. And so we listen to the Chicago Press Corps tell us that taking more of our money is the responsible thing to do. Heck, it was even our idea. Illinois' political mystics strikes have fooled voters for 4 decades. Perhaps they'll do so again. But millions have realized that Illinois has lost its prestige. And the one thing legerdemain cannot make reappear is all of those who have left. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 4.
Worn-out tires can cost you a lot more than new tires.
It's true. In the long run, badly worn tires put stress on suspension parts,
which can lead to real expensive repairs.
Worn tires have poor traction.
That's why so many families are riding on Merlin 200,000-mile warranty tires.
What's your family riding on?
Stop in at your local Merlin 200,000-mile shop for details and a free tire inspection today.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
It's never too early to be prepared for winter driving. Start with a free tire and wiper blade inspection at your local Merlin shop. It's one of the easiest and most important things you can do to be prepared. Right now, receive a $50 rebate on the purchase of 4 General tires and up to a $15 rebate on wiper blades. Visit Merlins.com for details to find a shop and make an appointment.
Gentlemen, it's Dan Proft, and it's Movember. You know what that means. Mustaches and taking better care of your health. In honor of Movember, Low T Center is offering a testosterone and PSA test for only $50, and no appointment is necessary. Low T Center makes it easy to get your levels checked. I experienced it personally. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and you know your results within minutes. Their services are covered by most health insurance. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy and can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. Low T Center even has convenient and flexible hours. So take care of yourself this Movember and get your PSA and testosterone tested for only $50. I did. It's easy. Call my friends at Low T Center today, 630-409-4305. That's 630-409-4305. Or go to lowtcenter.com and tell them Dan Proft sent you.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick-and-mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state-of-the-art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years' experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us. TrustInAmerican.com. That's TrustInAmerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
Here are the stories we're watching this morning. Operations returning to normal at O'Hare after strong winds. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. Confirmation in France, a killer has been killed.
Abdelhamid Abaoud was killed yesterday during the raid in Saint-Denis.
That's the French Interior Minister on the suspected mastermind in last week's deadly terror attacks. Fox's Simon Owen live in Paris.
Dave, Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve painting a picture of a serial terror plotter, saying France has thwarted 6 attacks since spring of this year, and Abdelhamid Abaoud was behind 4 of them. But the minister also saying France had not been made aware that the Belgian jihadi had returned to Europe from Syria, saying European countries need to improve fast.
Just whip out a cheese. Thanks, Marcus. And want me to just label them my pillows? Yeah. My pillow, Dan. Feed the children. Yeah. Say my pillow. I'm feeding the children out of my pillow.
Yeah.
Mic check, mic check.
What do we have?
Ted Cruz, Obama fights. I'm just thinking out loud.
They're going to vote today.
Oh, yeah, the vote today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Congress defund.
All right. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Will Congress get serious and defund President Obama's Syrian refugee program?
We're back at 5 with The Answer, AM 560, The Answer.
Allah Akbar.
Yeah. That'd be great too.
Yeah. Maybe a teaser would get me at the dessert. All right. Read that, and when you're ready, let me know. Save as. I think I had rice from 5 years. Okay.
We're doing it.
Teases in there.
So you want alternate paragraphs? Yeah. All right. You ready? You tell me.
You hold on. No, you hold on. All right. This is 1.
1, 2, 3.
With 3. All right. Ready?
Hi, it's Dan Proft.
And Amy Jacobson.
Here to tell you about our 2014 Feed the Children campaign.
We're partnering with Feed the Children to help raise money to provide food and basic resources to families in and around the Chicagoland area. And what's raised here stays here.
You might not realize it, but 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger on a regular basis. That child might live in your neighborhood. They might be a classmate of your own son or daughter.
Feed the Children provides local food banks, community centers, and churches with 25-pound boxes of non-perishable food items, enough to supplement the food intake for a family of 4 for 1 week.
Feed the Children delivers these boxes directly to local organizations to be distributed to families that need them.
Here's how you can help. A donation of $76 will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. That's all it takes, just $76.
To make that donation, or any donation, just call 866-435-2248. That number, 866-435-2248, or go online and visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword feed. And cut. Print. Feed. Feed them already.
Wow. Number 1. Okay, we are rolling.
Hi, it's Dan Proft.
And Amy Jacobson. Winter has come early to Chicago this year, and for many families, that means choosing between staying warm and putting food on the table. That's not a choice that any family should ever have to make.
Every day, 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger because of a tragedy like a tornado or because a parent loses a job. And hunger doesn't take a holiday. The need is great this season.
That's why we're partnering with Feed the Children to help local families here in the Chicagoland area put food on the table this holiday season, and what's raised here stays here.
Feed the Children provides local community centers, food pantries, and other organizations with 25-pound boxes of non-perishable food items, enough to supplement the food intake for a family of 4 for 1 week. These local organizations then get the boxes in the hands of the families who need them the most.
You can make an impact by making a donation of $76. That amount will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. That's all it takes, just $76.
To make that donation, or any donation, just call 866-435-2248. That number, 866-435-2248, or go online and visit 560theanswer.com and search the keyword feed. All right. Heading into the final turn.
rolling.
Hi, it's Dan Proft.
And Amy Jacobson.
We have a challenge for you. Take just a minute and think about your own children or your grandchildren. We know how hard you work and have worked to provide for them. Imagine if you couldn't put food on the table for them.
That's a reality for 1 in 5 American children who are facing the prospect of hunger right now. We're always talking about the economy on this show and how the jobless rate remains too high. Well, that translates into real hunger for real families right in our neighborhood.
Feed the Children is an organization we've partnered with that's working to meet that need by providing 25-pound boxes of food directly to families here in Chicagoland. They've been doing it for years, and they know how to get the job done.
Would you consider making a donation of just $76 on behalf of your healthy, well-fed children and grandchildren this holiday season? That amount of money will help feed 16 hungry children. It's really that simple.
Just call 866-435-2248. That number, 866-435-2248. Or go online and visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword feed. And thank you in advance for your generosity.
And now, this radio station gets turned into your total information source with The Mike Gallagher Show. The news is happening now, and we keep you connected to the headlines like no one else. Here is the happy conservative warrior, Mike Gallagher.
It's funny how some things we post at Facebook go viral. Yesterday we posted a picture we saw somewhere. It's just a notebook page, and it says at the top in block letters, written, it looks like in magic marker, Syrian refugee entrance form. And then in bigger letters below that, are you a terrorist? Check 1. And then a big empty box for yes, and a big empty box for no. So far, that post has reached 252,798 people. Over 250,000 people have seen our post that makes fun of the Syrian refugee vetting process. The mainstream media's propaganda machine is already gearing up. Front page of USA Today this morning reports that there's a Syrian family in Florida near Fort Lauderdale. They're afraid to leave their home in Fort Lauderdale. Amal Saleh was too scared to leave her home, or his home rather, with his family when the bombs started falling near the family's apartment building in Aleppo, Syria. After a 21-month journey that scattered the family around the world and left one of them dead, the Syrian refugees now find themselves scared to leave their new home near Fort Lauderdale. This time, it's the Americans they're scared of. Yep, here comes the propaganda. Here comes the media onslaught about the evil, cold-hearted, orphan-hating, widows-loathing Republicans. And some Democrats, because there are some Democrat governors who are also saying no more to the insanity of allowing refugees from Syria, Muslim refugees from Syria in. The American people, by a majority vote, according to a latest poll, support blocking the Syrian refugees from entering the United States. Over half the governors in America support blocking Syrian refugees